feeling you're giving me, baby. Just hold me, baby, and I'm in ecstasy. Oh, I'll be working from that 9 to 5 to buy you things that'll keep you right by my side. I never looked so in that love before. Just hold me, baby, and love me forevermore. I swear I'm keeping you satisfied, 'cause you're the one for me. The way you make me feel, you really turn me on. You knock me off of my feet, baby. My lonely days are gone. Ooh, yeah, yeah, the way you make me feel, you really turn me on. You know you knock me off of my feet, baby. Yeah, my lonely days are gone. They're gone. Ooh, the way you make me feel.
Welcome to the Virtual Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for Middle Class Film Class. Please welcome to your screen, Middle Class Film Class.
Hello, Twitch. Hello, classmates, and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class Gab and Chatter edition for Saturday, April 29th, 2023. I'm your host for today, Pete.
I'm Joseph.
And I'm Tyler.
And on this episode, Jude Law has a creepy ice cream truck, James Gunn's new vision for Superman, and Tyler picks a fight. Plus, the Woody Harrelson saga that we didn't cover, and two payoffs from the Wheel of Punishment. Yes, here
Another
we.
Woody Harrelson.
Yes, it's a follow-up. This is a tag to our story last week that
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson may be
and Matt McConaughey
half brothers.
might be biological brothers.
McConaughey, yeah, half brothers. And we had a listener who wrote in and kind of gave me the business. Said you missed the most interesting thing about the entire story, and I'll cover that later.
Okay.
So,
Where did they write in?
Huh?
Where did they write in?
He did message me.
Oh, okay.
He messaged me on Messenger or Facebook friends. But we're streaming on Twitch. Hi, Twitch
Yes.
land. Hi, Stab Comedy.
Yes.
So if you've never joined us for one of these things, we do the show. We record the show, the podcast, every Saturday, split it into 2 episodes, release it Mondays and Wednesdays.
Yes.
It's a good time. First half of the show that we're going to do today is our Monday episode, Gab and Chatter. And then the second half will be our review episode, which we're covering In a Lonely Place from 1950.
Oh, I thought it was the 2018 one. God damn it.
Hold
on.
I visited my wife at work yesterday and brought her lunch because I am unemployed and have nothing to do.
Okay.
So
You're being a good house husband.
yes,
What
I
are you
am.
talking about? You're part of a production.
That's not employment, though.
That's not employment.
It is not employment.
He's not making money on it.
And she sometimes brings up. She works in a classroom. And she works with like a teacher and other instructional aides because she's an instructional aide.
Sure.
And so sometimes they'll she'll bring up the show if somebody asks her, if, I don't know, just chit chat like, what does your husband do?
Yeah.
Type of conversation.
He's on a 2-bit comedy podcast.
It's a point of shame. Don't bring it up too often.
And there's this young kid who works there. He's like 18 and his name is Luca. And
Luca Guadagnino?
yeah, it's him. It's his son, actually, Luca Jr.
Okay.
And when I went there to eat lunch with her, I ate lunch in the classroom, and I sat in like those little kid tables in a little kid chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Full of fun. You felt like a giant.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wow, I feel like BFG. And apparently Luca has asked about this show. And Deanna told me that he said that he started listening to our most recent After Sun episode.
Okay.
And I thought it was so funny because he hasn't seen the movie, and
It's a great show. It's a great episode. I love it.
But it was just funny to me because and he didn't finish the episode, and I was like, why do you pick that episode? And then
It's just the most recent upload.
and then an episode that is a specific subject as opposed to the other Gavin Chatter episodes where it's about anything for the most part.
It is a little confusing for new listeners because we have every other episode is a general discussion. The other one's a focused interview or focused review.
So Luca, if you were entertained by what we by the 2 minutes that you listened to.
Wait, he didn't give his review.
No, what? No, I didn't talk to him. I just said hi to him and then moved on. And so if you're listening now, Luca, I'm talking to you right now. This is the episodes that you should listen to if you haven't seen any movies.
Yeah, if you're well, like Tyler was about to say, if you haven't seen, I never planned on watching After Sun before you assigned it to us. I mean, I thought maybe I will one day, but I'm not parceling out a time in my, or it's not on my list. One day I might show up and I'll watch it. But if one of my friends had a podcast, or I had a podcast I subscribed to, they review it, I might listen to it, and then I can go into the movie after, because it doesn't seem like a movie you can really spoil. It's more a vibe movie.
But that's
I would agree
this
with that.
episode specifically. There's other movies that we reviewed where obviously you wouldn't want to hear that.
Yeah, 7. We review 7.
Yeah.
No, I think
or The Sixth Sense or something.
Wow, Kevin Spacey's in it. Love him. Fuck.
No, I think the benefit of splitting the 2 episodes of Gavin Chatter and then the movie review, I think that's great, because if you don't want to listen to a movie review, you don't have to listen to a movie review. If you want us to talk about this, that, and the other, then you can listen to our Gavin Chatter, catch up on some news, and
I actually experimented with breaking the show up into chapters, because I can set chapters in our hosting companies.
Oh yeah, I feel like I remember.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, well, let's do it. So we'll get to the beginning of Joseph's segment of news stories, and then mine, and then Tyler's, and then if you get tired of hearing me jackjaw the entire episode, you can be like, what, I got enough Pete for the episode. I'm gonna skip chapters to Tyler.
And then you can put that in the metadata.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Down there in the bottom.
Each episode, and then
we're getting real technical.
I did it for 2 episodes. I'm like, this is way too much work. I already have a hard enough time even uploading the right audio file sometimes.
Yeah, you have to you got to find that point in the file. And
exactly.
Well, I think we're bearing the lead here. We're all back in the studio again.
Oh yeah.
We had been sequestered to each of our own domiciles, and now we're all here. We're all back in the Abeta studio.
We don't have any leaf blowers in the background of Tyler's house.
Yeah,
I wonder if the fans care about that aspect of it.
I think the audio quality is a little different.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a little better for sure.
Good goddamn what they think. I just
the man of the people. All right, we've been chattering long enough. Let's get into some actual news stories. Some Gavin chatter.
Right.
Still not as good as Bagel Pod.
Find some
that's pretty good.
lad. Now's the time for Gavin Chatter.
Gavin Chatter, movie news. And again, if you're on Twitch, hop into the chat, say hi. I got my mini chat window open here. I don't know if hopefully I'm going to pay attention to the actual episode, but and if you're listening to this on the podcast, we have a VOD stream of this if you want to hop in and see what we're talking about, because I think the VOD actually shows the whole chat history too, right?
This is our face reveals.
Yeah.
Face reveal at 10 subscribers.
Once a month, face reveal.
All right, Joseph, go ahead. What do you got?
I only have one news story, and I just found it, so I am just reading this article just now.
Oh boy!
But the headline,
heavily prepared.
The headline. I mean, there's not much to the story, I don't think, other than it's as what Pete's kind of summarized in the beginning is that Jude Law got an ice cream van for the new Peter Pan movie, which he is starring as Captain Hook, and apparently he never broke character as Hook, that's the role he decided to go.
He's taking the Daniel Day-Lewis.
He decided to go method with Hook on Disney's Peter Pan adaptation.
I like to think of Kirk Lazarus as the premier method actor of our time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Not a great character till I do the DVD commentary.
and I guess so. He wanted the actors outside of like the characters, like the kid actors, to like him, Jude Law, while he's driving an ice cream van as Hook. So it's
was he dressed as Hook?
I don't know if he was dressed as Hook, but let's get into the.
Okay,
let's
let's discover together.
This was all revealed on the Tonight Show. And,
okay.
And it's David Lowery's Peter Pan and Wendy.
Is that Jim Fallon who does the Tonight Show?
Yes,
I think it's James Fallon.
Yeah.
Oh,
James Corden Fallon.
You know, that was my most surprising thing about the Peter Pan and Wendy movie is that we talked about it years ago on this show. We were first ones ever to break it. Ever. Break the news. Break the news. The David Lowery.
They knew.
I know. And
David Lowery, you're going to make us.
We willed it into existence, and then years later, it drops on Disney Plus. No fanfare. It came out yesterday.
yeah.
Did you know about that?
I didn't know about that, but
no.
They're just
I've
like
been seeing billboards for it and stuff.
I mean, you have to understand, we have powerful voices in the entertainment industry.
one of the most predominant mainstays of Disney characters, at least from my childhood. My namesake. One of the most racist depictions of side characters of any Disney movie in the golden era.
Mm-hmm.
And a fantastic director that, say what you want about David Lowery, with some people may not like A Ghost Story, but he knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yes.
And they drop it with no fanfare.
Yeah, A Ghost Story and A Green Knight.
Yeah. A Green Knight and a Pete's Dragon.
Yes, a Pete's Dragon, now a Peter Pan and a Wendy.
I think. Well, he's got 2 movies with Pete in the title. I think 2
Disney movies.
Yeah,
right?
he's going to adapt. 2 Disney movies. He's going to adapt The Adventures of Pete and Pete next.
This is for his next A24 movie.
Or it's going to be it's a Pete Sampras Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yeah. And okay, so Jude Law, to ensure the child actors on set would be scared of Hook. This is a Lowery instructed.
He told him to do this.
Lowery instructed Law to not reveal his true self until after the filming. So whenever he, I guess, was in presence of these kid actors, he was always dressed as Hook.
Nice. Oh, okay.
And not out of costume. And David Lowery had the idea of really trying to encourage them not to see me when I wasn't Hook. So I just stayed as Hook the whole time. He slept in the costume and everything. Which, just in case. Yeah. It's like a Mrs. Doubtfire.
The whole time? Yeah. Also for Mrs. Doubtfire.
He must be getting paid a king's ransom for that.
The Disney check. Which was an opportunity just to be really scary and mean, says Jude Law. It sounds kind of awful. I didn't want to be talking to a little 6-year-old dude and then suddenly it's like, right, you hate me. I'm Hook.
He said a 6-year-old dude.
So instead, I'm just stuck as Hook. And yeah, a lot of the reactions you see in the film are their reactions to me. So it's like Skarsgård and It.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And they met him at the end of filming. They met Jude Law, not Hook, at the end of filming. And I did what every adult should do to bribe children. I hired an ice cream van and I drove it on site and gave it out ice cream. Nothing like chocolate ice cream to persuade the child you're all right.
All right. I'm having flashbacks to Freaks with Bruce Dern as the creepy ice cream man. Don't you want some ice cream? I got a bunch in the back.
Yeah. I wanted him to be sad. I wanted him to be scarred and gnarly and disgusting and scary and funny too. This is him on Hook, the character. Mm-hmm. Like an overheated, angry dad or uncle who, from a kid's perspective, is just really pathetic and loud. So his way of, giving back or making amends with these child actors was like, it's okay. I'm not scary. I'm Jude Law.
Yeah.
Woo!
I'm a fun guy.
Ice cream.
But I mean, it kind of brings up the question, are these children actors actually terrified of these evil villains that they're supposed to be acting with? Because I think the the understanding that I have is the child actors know this is make believe, this is pretend, this isn't.
You still have a full grown ass adult shouting at you and calling you a 6-year-old dude.
And if that's your only exposure to that person, whether only in that character, you might think in your mind that they're just an actor, but you're not seeing the actor in this context.
And also the fact that he committed to being full meta or full what's the phrase?
Method.
Method. Yeah, method. Full method. every other person you interact on the set is like, okay, you have the character and then you have, Joe, the actor.
So there's no like reading that they have to do beforehand?
Rehearsals?
Maybe
Like rehearsals and stuff? Maybe.
Maybe in this case they chose not to because they wanted it to be impactful.
More authentic, essentially?
So like, yeah, the Joseph was talking about the reveal of Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise the Clown was the first reveal was in the kitchen scene when he comes out of the refrigerator and he's like bearing down on them, hands and knees, crawling at the children, and he's got this big creepy face. And and all of their screaming and shouting was more or less, obviously amplified, but pretty realistic and authentic.
There is
because that was the first time I seen him in character. And
there
like,
was
holy shit,
like behind the scenes footage of like the actors, like the kid actors from the first It movie, talking about like, well, when did you see it, or when are you going to see?
Oh, really?
When are you going to see Pennywise? When are you going to see? And it's like the kid from Stranger Things or Finn Wolfhard, and then the other two, Jack Glazer and the other guy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny. See that like behind the scenes, like, oh, you haven't seen him yet. It's almost like they are young kids.
Yeah.
When they're filming these movies.
You still can be scared of an adult.
The kid who's playing Peter Pan, Alexander Maloney, he was born in 2006. So when they were filming this movie, it was probably like
2020.
14 years old.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, sounds about right.
Still kind of impressionable.
The costume looks legit too. It looks straight like the cartoon Peter Pan.
So Jude Law's penance was
buy him ice cream.
Buy them ice cream.
He, I don't know if that was David Lowery instructed or not, but
he's like, you have to show up in the ice cream truck. I'm not paying for it.
Does the article say he was dressed up like those like old timey ice cream truck drivers?
No, it doesn't say that.
Ah, man.
You can watch the interview probably on like clips on YouTube because it was on the Tonight Show, and this was reported by Variety. The Peter Pan and Wendy movie, did it come out? Or
yesterday, yeah.
Yesterday.
As of recording, Friday the 28th.
It's sitting at a 4.1 out of 10 right now on IMDb.
Oh boy. That's a bummer.
So wait, hold on. So that's Peter Pan and Wendy, directed by David Lowery. And what's Pete's Dragon, right?
Yeah, Pete's Dragon was his.
That's a 6.7 out of 10. So
I liked Pete's Dragon quite a bit.
And
it wasn't anything to write home about, but it was way better than I was expecting.
And that's at like 60,000 people. This is on IMDb, by the way.
Okay.
60,000 reviews on IMDb for Pete's Dragon, and there's only like 5,000 for.
Oh, okay.
And it just came out, so
yeah.
I don't think it got a theatrical release. Maybe it did.
I think it was right. Like I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
But that's what Jude Law bought some kids some ice cream to make up for scaring them during the filming.
Thanks, Jude Law. How nice of you.
I guess talk about my punishment movie.
Let's do it after when I finish mine, and then we'll go to stream picks.
Okay, cool.
Tyler, what do you got for your story?
All right. So I'm gonna go to. I have obviously in the top of the show I have a discussion topic, but I want to go to this news story first from Variety.com. So the title is James Gunn wants a Superman who has a quote unquote humanity and is quote unquote somebody you want to hug. So if everyone doesn't know, James Gunn is going to be heading
he's the CEO of like Warner Discovery for the DC extension.
The DC arm of Warner Brothers. Yeah. Like he's heading it. And one of his I don't know if it's his first project, but it's one of his projects. It's called Superman Legacy. And we all know that Henry Cavill is not going to be reprising his role as Superman, which I think is a crime against humanity because he looks like Superman.
And he has humanity, and you want to hug him.
That's
a big buff teddy bear.
When you see him coming out of the ocean, it's not even fair. It's like he's a fake thing. He's got those pecs that are like going to put your eye out from 10 feet away.
If you imagine Superman in a live action movie, you're thinking of Henry Cavill. You're like,
at least we are. Like, this is going to piss off a lot of people, but Christopher Reeve was never my Superman ever. I haven't seen a single one of him in the Superman movies. So how could he be?
Christopher Reeve? I think he has characteristics like Henry Cavill, but I think Henry Cavill is like
not the physique. He's got the all American
charisma
type of look.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, I'm with you, Tyler. Like when
Brandon Routh is my Superman,
oh boy.
and Kevin Spacey is my Lex Luthor.
What? No, Eisenberg? No, I was really bummed out when they said Cavill was going to be no longer Superman, but then
And no
I
longer
trust-
The Witcher either.
that was probably honestly more of a shock to me
Yeah.
because he is Geralt. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
The fact that the project is going to have young Superman, it was like, okay, well that makes sense. If they want to go in a young Superman approach, Henry Cavill can't be it. So it is what it is. And I trust James Gunn. He's never failed me. So
I that's where I was gonna go with too. Is like James Gunn, like he hasn't. As far as I can recall, he hasn't made a stinker. So I think that I'm cautiously optimistic for this new Superman. So he goes on quoting on to say that the next Superman has to be someone who has all the humanity that Superman has, but he's also an alien. I know that's kind of vague
well,
because
he literally is an alien.
Yeah.
it's so like when I was
He
reading.
directed movie 43, or at least a part of it.
Yeah, it was a segment of it. Yeah.
Okay.
So like
I wouldn't call that a James Gunn project, to be honest.
I think it just when I was reading the article, like I thought there was going to be a little bit more meat to it, but like it's more so of James Gunn like describing like he wants a more down to earth Superman. And I was thinking to myself, well, we already got that with Smallville, like that.
Yeah, but that was a series.
I know it was a series, but like that's the same thing. So it's like, are you going for a Smallville Superman? Like, are we going like what the article does not state is like what this movie like, is it going to be like an origin story, or is it going to be like
You just
middle
have
of
to
the
wait.
ground?
You have to wait and find out.
Well, I know we have to wait and find out, but that's the point of this discussion. So like I'm thinking, so it's the title is Superman Legacy. So my theory is that it's going to start out with the origin story where like he comes down to Earth and
His planet gets destroyed. This is like the Batman thing. Where it's like, how many times are we going to see his planet get destroyed?
No, that's what I was gonna say is they're not gonna show the planet get destroyed. They're just gonna show him coming to Earth, and then the Kents, like they raise him up to be a good farm boy, corn fed, as they say in the Midwest, and then shows him growing up. He's like discovering like all of his powers. It's kind of like a metaphor for like puberty, kind of. And then there is going to be a big bad like towards the middle end of the movie.
Wouldn't it have to be Zod?
I don't think it's going to be Zod. I want it to be Lex Luthor.
I guess that'd be one of the two.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I'm not a Superman fan. I'm more of a Batman fan myself. But with James Gunn heading this movie, I'm kind of excited.
Will he be
kind of
directing
excited.
it, or will he just be?
I think he's producing it only.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he's an EP, but I don't know. But I thought that was a really interesting story. And moving on, I
like this succinctness, this new Tyler, this with confidence. Moving on to the next story with oomph, with gusto.
We're done with that.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, there's nothing more to say. I don't know.
I agree.
It's never
I
stopped you in the
don't
past.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, so anyway, moving on. I have a discussion topic, as I would say. So I was thinking about this because I was furiously looking for like news stories to talk about, and that Superman story, like that was like the bottom of the barrel.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks for bringing us shit.
It wasn't shit. It was a good discussion that we just had.
Don't sell
But,
yourself short. It was wonderful.
And so you sold me short. I didn't do
You said
anything.
it was the bottom of the barrel.
Well, it was the bottom of the barrel. Like
Which is it?
Okay.
You're fond of me, lot.
Stop fighting. Stop fighting.
Okay. So, anyways, so I was thinking about this on the car ride over. I wasn't gonna bring this up, but I am going to bring it up right now. So,
Okay.
I want to get your guys' opinion on who would win, or actually not who would win, but what would be a fight that you would want to see in the cinematic universe. The parameters are they have to be human, and they don't have any supernatural or magic powers. Pete, go.
Okay.
What if they're a magician?
That's what like doing illusions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If they're human and
like
if
the
they don't have,
Prestige.
well, okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, if they're human and they don't,
But
and they don't,
this is a fight, right? Do they get time to prepare?
it's a fight.
Is there- do they have time
Like a bare knuckle fist fight.
Do they know they're gonna who their opponent is, or is this a surprise attack?
No, it's a surprise attack.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a surprise. Like
No, magician's not gonna help at all then.
damn. So Kevin McAllister,
And
the
out.
Sticky Bandits.
He's out.
There's no. Okay, yeah, and then the next parameter is there's no preparation. Like they just like kind of
Oh,
meet
okay.
like Western style.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so they just show up and you're like, you're gonna fight someone to the death. Bare knuckles or weapons?
No guns because that's a cheat.
What?
So
I mean,
Wait,
I
so
like having parameters, but there's a lot of parameters on this.
So
Are they in the nude?
Are they oiled up?
Yeah. Is it Greco-Roman?
Greco-Roman. No, they're not. They're not nude.
Is this like a Fight Club type fight?
No, it's not like Fight Club, but like the circumstances, like for some reason or another,
Their
they
universes
have to
have
fight.
crossed.
Yeah, they have to fight. No,
Okay.
Well,
no.
set the stage then. Set like what? Like, is there an audience? Is it like?
I just
Is it in a?
said
Is it in a dojo?
Yeah.
In an arena? Is it a-
Okay, we're getting too specific. It's just too.
well, what kind of fight is it? Like, are they? Can they fight dirty? Can
It's a-
they?
It's
I
fight
think-
dirty.
Okay, so I think
You're putting too much thought into it. Just a
well,
fight
you're asking
between.
us a very serious question. There's
Well,
consequences.
There's
aren't
no
there?
weapons.
There's no weapons. It's just
Okay.
it's a fist fight.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. So it's Jackie Chan style, only using your surroundings.
Sure.
Or
Okay.
if there's anything, yeah.
Okay, I'm
And
going to
This
go.
isn't like Voltron's lair in Flash Gordon where like they're on a disc.
I'm going. I have my
spikes
answer.
going up.
I have my answer. I'm going to go with Jason Bourne.
Mm.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Versus, what's her name from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon? The young one.
Oh,
Let's see. What's her character's name? Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She's played by, Zhang Ji. I guess her character's name is Jen Yu. I don't remember. She was the one that stole the green sword of destiny.
yeah.
So I want her to fight.
Well,
Jason Bourne.
They kind of have.
Huh?
They can like fly around.
No. That's skill and practice. Not everyone in that universe can fly around. Only them. They're just powerful.
I don't know.
It's a telling of a story. The
There's
real
no supernatural.
the real
aspect to
version of-
them flying around.
No,
in those
no.
goddamn
That's real.
trees.
And I'll tell
but
you,
that's literally not possible.
is it?
It's not.
You can. So you're telling me you've never had a bamboo forest top fight where you're standing on top of a bamboo trees fighting your master?
Well, I mean, they also like balance on water and like fly, like jump on top of water.
Yeah, but they're not walking on water. They use the water
They're bouncing.
to
They're bouncing off the
they use
water.
the water to propel themselves back into the air. Water is matter, is it not? By all extensions.
Well, the movie just defies physics.
So let me tell you why. Because this small competitor is clearly more skilled than Jason Bourne, but he has the physical.
Jason Bourne killed someone with a book.
I know he did. So he has the physical advantage. He's much stronger and bigger than she is.
But she's more agile.
She's much more agile. I think that he would be like the juggernaut, just constantly imposing on her, tracking her
He
down.
has a
That would be a good
Jason
fight
Bourne's
to see. That's a
fighting
great,
style
That's a great matchup.
is kind of sloppy.
Thank you.
It's like almost like a Jackie Chan-esque type fighting,
Yeah,
It's
as I said,
realistic,
he
but
uses his surroundings.
Americanized. He uses a pencil to stab a guy's hand.
So yeah, put him and Jackie Chan in the same room though. Jackie Chan's got him mopped up. Mopped up.
I don't
So,
know.
I think-
I don't agree with that assessment, but I
What?
do love your matchup.
What?
Wait, hold on, wait. Oh,
Jason Bourne definitely has Jackie Chan.
Oh, okay.
That's not true.
I
I
don't
don't know.
need
It would
the
be an
buzzer.
it'd be a cool fight to see. I think.
Yeah.
That's
That's my answer. We got Joseph.
Let's say Black Dynamite.
Mm.
Careful.
Black Dynamite.
Chatbot coming in.
Producer chatbot wants to be very careful what you say next.
Black Dynamite and I don't know his character's name, but Liam Neeson from Taken.
Oh, that's interesting.
Now that would be an interesting
Who's
fight
interrupting my kung fu?
because Liam Neeson, he takes himself way too seriously. In Black Dynamite, he has the confidence of a god, and so like you have those two clash together.
Yeah.
That's a great battle. That's a great battle.
That would be.
I don't know who would win, but it'd be cool to see.
That would be cool.
Because Michael Jai White, well, I mean, I don't know how tall he is, but he in his presence in Black Dynamite, he's a very big, like tall, hulking man who knows
he's a big fucker.
and Michael Jai White actually knows martial arts,
Yeah.
and so Black Dynamite's character kind of knows how to fight too, and I think Liam Neeson with his CIA whatever Secret Service training he has, I think it could be an interesting fight.
Yeah. I think so. And it would be a dirty fight too. It would be dirty, and it would be long. It would be a long.
That would be a
fight.
knockdown, drag out fight. Because
Yeah.
Liam Neeson has a very particular set of skills, after all.
Although that might have been in bad taste because Liam Neeson did say he just wanted to go beat up. He was kind of racist one time.
Did he really?
Yeah, when his like sister or something like that was like
In Taken or Liam Neeson?
no,
in real life?
life.
What?
He like said that like I just wanted to find the nearest black person and just beat him up.
Oh boy, man, him and Mark Wahlberg should hang out.
It was like
Oh no, that's allegedly.
he did say that.
He said he wanted to go.
Yes, he
and
said
fight
it was
the
because-
nearest black
It
person.
was because like someone he knew or a relative was like raped or something, and
Ugh.
that was his way of getting out his aggression. So maybe I just did that in bad taste. So like,
I said that.
yeah.
I said that.
So maybe Black Dynamite should win.
definitely
Should
said that.
Why would you say that in an interview? Why would you say that?
He was that was for,
he was
for
so
GQ.
He was still angry.
Hey.
I'm still angry.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
Do you have an answer, Tyler?
Yes, I do, and it's going to be Murtaugh v. McClane.
Who's that?
Murtaugh, really?
Murtaugh from what?
Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon, and
Oh.
then McClane from
Die Hard.
Die Hard, yeah.
So what you want? You want Danny Glover to fight Bruce Willis?
Yeah.
I figured you would have picked Mel Gibson versus Bruce Willis. Why Danny Glover? He's too old for this shit.
Because I think Murtaugh has that old man strength, and like you don't. I mean, you do kind of see him in combat, like in the Lethal Weapon movies, but not really. Like you only see Mel Gibson's characters. So like, I want to see Murtaugh, really go fisticuffs with McClane, who I think would win though. I think McClane has it in the clutch. Like I think McClane would ultimately win.
That's not even close, in my opinion. I think if you were to pit him against Riggs from Lethal Weapon, that might be exciting because Riggs is a loose cannon. He
yes.
literally has a
I
death
did-
wish for himself.
I did consider that. I thought Riggs versus McClane would be a good matchup. And you know what? You know what? I'm redacting my answer. Riggs versus McClane.
Okay.
Thank you, Pete,
Okay.
You're welcome.
for making me realize that.
Okay.
Yeah, Riggs versus McClane would be a good fight, and hopefully, the thing is, like when McClane, like when he was beating up one of the terrorists, and he's just like saying like, "I killed your brother" or something like that. He was like talking about like how he killed his brother or something. It's just like, Jesus Christ, McClane. Like, I mean, I know like the guy is trying to kill you, but like, can you like calm
That
down?
was in Die Hard 3 that we did our episode on.
Yeah, like calm
Or
down.
Die Hard 2 or Die Hard 3?
Die Hard 3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because he's talking to Jeremy Irons or whoever it was, and saying like, "Remember that your brother? I killed your brother.
Yeah, it's
How you
just
like that?"
It's just like calm down. Like that was his brother, for Christ's sakes. Like
Yeah.
you don't need to be
Run-
you don't need to be emotionally damaging.
Terrorism runs in the family.
Yeah.
But that was a great discussion, and I relinquished my time. That was great.
Okay, so I got a couple something interesting, a follow up to last week's discussion about Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey possibly being half brothers.
Oh, that's right.
And I got a message from one of our listeners, Andrew Martin, who also has his own podcast. Andrew watches movies, and a new TikTok account which is kind of doing the gangbusters that he's blowing up the charts with, and it's called Cinecin, I think. Cinecin. I can't remember what it's called. I'll find it and I'll put it in the show notes. It's relatively new. The name doesn't roll off my tongue yet, but go follow those things. Look in the show notes. And he sent me a message saying, "Hey, you guys missed the most interesting part about the Woody Harrelson story. Is that Woody Harrelson's father was a hired killer for the mafia, and he was convicted of murder multiple times in his life, including a possible link and implication to the JFK assassination.
Like he was associated with the assassination.
Yes.
He was a part of the president's assassination.
Yes, and this is all like public knowledge. It's like available on Wikipedia, and I'm looking through
His own father,
Woody Harrelson's father,
not grandfather.
no, his father.
Father.
Yeah. So Woody Harrelson, his father, Charles Harrelson,
Oh my God.
born 1938, occupation hitman listed. Children with Diane Lou were Woody Harrelson, Brett Harrelson, and Jordan Harrelson. And
It reminds me of that scene in Roadhouse where he's in the doctor's office getting staples put on him, and she's like, occupation. What is it? A bouncer. Like
yeah, it's a valid occupation. So
hitman.
here's kind of the long and short of it. So there was in 1968. What's his first name? Charles. I'm just gonna call him Charles. Charles was tried for the murder of Alan Harry Berg on September 22nd, 1970. He was acquitted. So in 1968, he was accused of the murder. He was acquitted in 1970.
Okay.
Acquitted by jury. So he was found not guilty. The murder is chronicled in a memoir called "Run, Brother, Run" by the victim's brother. Very interesting. And then the murder of Sam DeGelia. Harrelson or Charles was also tied to the 1968 for a murder for hire killing of Sam DeGelia. He was paid $2,000, the equivalent of $16,000 in the year 2020, for the murder of DeGelia. And his first trial ended with a deadlock jury. Although one of his accomplices, Pete Scamardo, was also tried for the case and found guilty of being an accomplice to the murder.
Sounds like a fake name.
Pete Scamardo was sentenced to 7 years probation. And then 5 years later, Harrelson was retried in 73, convicted and sentenced to 15 years in prison. So he was convicted of this murder.
Okay.
He's
So
15 years.
You only get 15 in the pokey for slaying someone?
Well, there's different like degrees of murder. There's like first degree, there's manslaughter, second degree murder. I don't know. And this is Texas. I mean, they basically
And this is
lucky
also
even-
in the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, he's lucky he even got prison time. Murdering someone in Texas apparently is like encouraged, I guess. So in 1978, he only served 5 years. He was released for good behavior.
Oh.
He was a
that-
good boy.
In that same year, shortly after he was paroled, he and his then wife, Joanne, which was Woody's mom, allegedly, were implicated on another murder on May 29th. On May 29th,
This man's a butcher.
I guess this is the next year, 1979. U.S. District Judge John H. Wood Jr. was shot dead in the parking lot outside of his San Antonio, Texas townhouse. And Charles and his wife were both implicated in it.
Damn.
And ultimately, he was convicted. He was convicted in May 29th, 1979, and he was served to 2 consecutive life sentences. And he died in prison from a heart attack in his cell.
Oh, jeez.
So when was Woody Harrelson born?
Woody Harrelson.
And all of
let's
this.
He was born in the 60s.
You don't have to guess.
see, 61.
61.
61. So this was before any of that all happened. So the first
Oh.
he was convicted in 1960 for the first murder.
Oh my God.
Like a year before he fathered his bouncing baby boy that would come to be, in White Men Can Jump and the rest.
I think it was Emmy Award winning or Oscar. He didn't win an Oscar. Maybe he did.
I think he's been nominated. I don't know if he's won.
Yeah, he's one of Hollywood's greatest actors.
So it's really interesting, and there's a whole a bunch of really interesting stuff about how the guy that he was in prison with implicated him with the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and there's a group of young men that were outside of the book depository, the famous book depository in the square where JFK was shot.
Yeah.
That are
okay.
called the Three Tramps.
Three
And here's a picture of the 3 tramps. There's the 3 of them.
Okay.
Look at the guy in the front,
Yeah.
and then look at
Looks like Matt Smith.
yeah, kind of does. So people are saying that potentially this Charles Harrelson is one of the 3 tramps, and they were the 3 guys that were essentially like
There was a second shooter
they may have been one of the second shooters or the
Back
third or fourth shooter.
into the left.
Yeah. So none of this has been substantiated. He was never convicted or even accused of the murder of JFK.
Huh.
And there are a lot of interesting things, like when he was caught by the police, he was like kind of manic and on drugs and saying crazy things like, I killed JFK, take me in, kill me, kill me, sort of, and he's like,
Kill me.
anything that you want to say about me. This is Charles
Over here,
talking.
look at me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, come arrest me. Maybe it was like a murder or a suicide by cop sort of thing.
I'm crazy.
I'm sorry, did you mention when he died?
He died in 2007.
Okay, so he saw his son come.
Success. Yes,
success.
absolutely.
Imagine being young Woody Harrelson. Your dad is a hitman, and being tried and arrested for all of these.
Yeah, there's probably
murders.
a lot of there's probably a lot of trauma like going on there.
It's very interesting. So,
And then he was a natural born killer.
So, think about
He
this.
channeled his dad's energy.
If that was truly Matthew McConaughey's dad, because that's the implication,
I forgot that was the whole point.
it would make perfect sense that his mother would not want him to know.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Because at that time, around
Right.
the time that McConaughey
okay. Yes.
was born, he'd already been convicted of a murder.
Yeah.
So, very, very interesting stuff to think about.
Yeah, there's a whole web.
What's a crazy childhood.
Isn't
There's
that
a,
wild?
It's a whole web.
Both your parents implicated for murder,
Yeah,
and they're still raising you like a.
Yeah, he had a escape attempt in 1995 that went south, and he was put back in. And then there's a 10-episode podcast called "The Son of a Hitman." It's a Spotify exclusive. You can only listen to it on Spotify. That's all about basically this story. So if you really want to dig into it deeper, look that up.
Back in the 60s, well, probably in 50s too, like the way they treated murder, it felt like very lenient.
I know. I really hope you feel bad about what you did.
Yeah,
Shame on you.
Bunch of finger wagging.
Here's 7 months of probation.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I think is weird, to be honest, is that like he got 15 years for the first one.
Yeah, but then he got out in 5 or something. Right?
5 years for good behavior.
Yeah, right.
And the second one, he got 2 consecutive light sentences, and it was because it was a judge. I think it was a U.S. court judge, and this is the first.
Oh,
judge.
so it matters what the person's occupation.
That
is.
always kind of blew me away. Where it's like, well, they're an upstanding citizen. You took away a young life, and it's like, I mean, you killed a person.
Why does it matter what they did for a living?
He just killed a bum. No big deal. She was 90 years old. She was gonna be dead soon anyways. Like that's fucked up.
Yeah,
well, you're lucky you killed a senior citizen. Because if it had been a 25-year-old, good luck.
Yeah,
we would have thrown the book at you. Otherwise, now we're just going to throw a pamphlet at you. So that came from that news. The follow-up. The tip came from Andrew Martin, and his TikTok account is Cinema Cult, but it's SINEMA Cult.
Cinema,
like it's a sin.
Sin.
Yeah.
Cinema.
Oh,
so
right.
Very
clever.
Go follow Cinema Cult with an S, or Andrew watches movies.
That could be like a porn channel with an S. Cinema.
Okay, so I also have a couple of other follow-up things. We got a message from our old pal Bruce Perky.
Oh, Bruce.
Yeah, and he sent in a message. He said, I was thinking about the black and white movies, and I waited to bring this up until we watched another black and white movie.
Black and white movies?
Yeah, we talked about the best black and white movies of the modern era or whatever.
Right. Yes.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, we did here on the show.
Yeah, we did.
We did that.
Yeah, we did.
We did that.
And Bruce said he sent me an email, essentially saying I couldn't think of a good black and white movie, but my AI, my robot.
I couldn't think of a good one.
He has some thoughts, so he sent in this for us.
His AI?
His AI.
Hello, this is Bruce's movie Joy. I was tasked with naming the 2 best black and white movies of the modern age. I choose Eraserhead and Dead Man, though my mental heart is really with Tetsuo, the Iron Man.
Oh, yeah. Tetsuo.
He says, I was tasked with naming the 2 best black and white movies of the modern era, and he said, my choices are Dead Man and what was the other one?
Tetsuo, the Iron Man.
No, that was his heart was with Tetsuo.
Oh, his heart's with Tetsuo.
It was Dead Man.
I choose Eraserhead and Dead Man.
Eraserhead and Dead Man. Yeah. So I it's really interesting.
When does the modern? When does that year start?
I'd say like 70s, 80s, maybe even.
Okay.
So, I didn't know Bruce had an AI.
That's
He's rolling in dough from that cinematics money.
Bruce Bot.
Bruce Bot.
Yeah, making
Hey,
that
Bruce
seedy.
Bot.
I love Bruce Bot.
Producer Chatbot and BruceBot maybe can get together.
Yeah, maybe so.
So that was kind of fun. I don't know where he got that video, but he sent that.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty fun.
Oh, that's great.
And then we also had a message in from listener Joel. He decided to dip his toe into the morbid curiosity of the Wheel of Punishment, and he watched The Hip Hop Witch, streaming free on Amazon Prime. He says, I've been trying to watch it for 2 weeks, and I'm only an hour in. I can't make it more than 15 or 20 minutes in one sitting. No spoilers, because there's nothing to spoil, but this movie is on every channel and every TV in the deepest circle of hell.
The Hip Hop Witch.
The Hip Hop Witch.
Well, it's going to land on there one of these days.
Yes, and on that topic, we have some payoffs for the Wheel of Punishment. So let's just get into some streaming picks and we can talk about it then.
Sure.
Movies.
Want to watch a movie?
Yes, I do. Disney Plus. Oh, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found the pick.
Streaming picks that we watched on our services this week that you can watch on your streaming pick services too. And normally they're good picks, and I think we're probably gonna have a mixed bag this week because me and Joseph both have punishments from last week. We lost the trivia. Shamefully. I think we only collectively named like 12 movies from the 80s.
Yeah.
There's at least 20. And me and Joseph we're the end of the bottom of the barrel. So we watched one shitty movie each from the Wheel of Punishment, and hopefully something good.
So should I just start with my regular streaming picks?
Whatever you want.
Okay, all right, in any order.
Whatever you want.
Okay, so I have a couple. No Rocky update this week. I did not watch any Rocky movies this week.
No Rocky 5?
No Rocky 5. I'm not necessarily looking forward to that one because it takes a big dive apparently. Starting a Rocky 5. But I did watch streaming on Netflix from Leica Studios is The Box Trolls.
Oh, fun!
Which I've seen that probably 4 or 5 times at this
point.
point.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's one of the early from 2014, so it's one of the earlier Leica movies. And it's just kind of a short, fun movie starring Ben Kingsley, Isaac Hempstead Wright, Elle Fanning, Toni Collette, Jared Harris, Nick Frost, Richard Ayoade, Tracy Morgan, Simon Pegg, and a bunch of other people. And it's just about this kid who he is kind of becomes orphaned at a very infant age, and he falls down sort of into the sewer, and he finds himself sort of adopted by these creatures known as the box trolls. And they're called the box trolls because they are just these sort of goblin type creatures that their bodies are just they just wear these boxes,
whatever box they could find,
boxes around them, and they have the boxes have labels on them, and that's their names. And so he grows up as a box troll, thinking that he's a box troll because he wears a box and his name is Eggs because the box has eggs on it. And
what up, Eggs?
And
it's like the Jungle Book.
Yeah, so the box trolls don't he's the only one that speaks English. The box trolls themselves don't actually have any language. They just
gibberish.
They just make noises. And the adversary in this movie is his goal is to become part of the Finer Cheese Club.
Oh yeah.
And the whole town is obsessed with cheese. It's a cheese themed town. And it's not Lord Portly Rind, Mr. Pickles.
Is this a children's movie?
Yeah, it's a kids movie, but it's a very fun. It's in the same vein as Paranorman, and
it's very detailed animation. Yeah, it's like a stop motion.
Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh, it's animated.
And Missing Link, same studio, right? That. It's just a super fun movie that's really well animated. It's all stop motion, and even at the end of the movie, you get sort of a behind the scenes look at how they're animating it while it's being animated. So it's these two characters are having this sort of meta conversation at the end of the movie, during the credits.
Yeah.
Where he's like, what if things are out of our control? And then it starts slowly showing the guy actually
moving
animating the character. He's like, what if I did this and they're controlling this bit and this bit, and he's moving his arms and legs around.
Oh, that's great.
It's very cool.
And and So it's a really entertaining movie if you haven't seen it for sure, and you like stop motion. Like Studios is like, I don't know if they're the top of the top in terms of stop motion, but they're really good.
Very high quality. Paranorman is amazing. I love it.
And Leica Studios, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but is owned by Nike. It's owned by Nike.
I thought they were British.
Footwear company?
They're based in Oregon.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And I've applied for a job.
I figured they were owned by Leica film lenses.
So
if anyone knows,
it is owned by Nike co-founder Phil Knight, and Phil Knight's son Travis Knight is Leica's president and CEO. And so Leica is not a profitable company and actually went filed for bankruptcy, but they will never go out of business because they're funded by Nike.
Because they're funded by Nike. Yeah. They're like, it's a loss leader,
so
but
like
it's okay.
They will like continually make projects good for us, for people who are like ingesting their movies and content.
Yeah.
But kind of bad.
It's kind of surprising that they're not profitable.
I know. And it was sad when I heard they went like file for bankruptcy. I was like, oh, they're not gonna be around anymore. But they're still around making movies.
Yeah, no, I think it's more like of a tax reason, and also it's a passion thing too. Like there's a dignity.
Well, Daddy's got money.
Yeah, Nike has got the Nike money.
And I mean, oh man, like that's really great to hear, because like I think that stop motion, as expensive as it is for people to make it, it should still be around. Like that's like an incredible creative endeavor to like have in our society. So I don't know. Like,
so the Box Trolls,
thank you, Nike,
streaming on thank you, Overlord Nike, for funding our stop motion needs. So Box Trolls streaming on Netflix, definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it and you like animated movies.
Right on.
And then my next stream pick was a little bit more impactful. I had never seen it before. It's a documentary streaming on Hulu, I believe. I'll double check. And that is a Ridley Scott produced documentary called The Donut King.
Oh yeah, it's one of my stream picks a while back.
Oh yeah.
And
that's like
this movie is it started off very wholesome and very sweet, and like kind of the story of this immigrant from Cambodia, and kind of really paints a picture of like the quote unquote American dream.
Right.
And but then it turns into something completely different, and it goes way darker and deeper than I thought it was going to. And I found myself getting a little emotional at one point. And
it's crazy. The places they go.
This movie was very well made and very good, and it really made me want a donut.
I was just thinking that. I know I want a donut now.
I know, and it's crazy. So he's a Cambodian refugee who's known in this L.A. Southern California community as Uncle Ted, and essentially it paints a picture of the work ethic of these immigrants escaping Cambodia, like the war in Cambodia and the Cambodian genocide, and really just trying to we need to find a way to support ourselves, because we're here with nothing, essentially, just like the clothes that we have on our back. And there were programs that he worked multiple jobs before he found his way to opening
his calling,
Winchell's Donuts or something like that. I think that's what it was initially called. He owned a branch of Winchell's Donuts.
Yeah, it was like a franchise.
And then
he went to their school of business school, how to start a franchise, how to make donuts,
how to bake and do everything,
and
payroll and everything.
You know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna go solo.
And then, and so he got so successful. He opened up another store, hired more people, trained them, and then just franchised outwards throughout California. And he became super, super successful. And
this was in Southern California, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where he lived, and that's where it started. And then it turns into they go into a little bit more about the traumas of the Cambodian War and stuff, and how people perceived people in America at the time. This was in the 70s, and people in America at the time weren't used to seeing people from Asia as often as they were now. And so there was a little bit of prejudice, kind of at least in the documentary they didn't paint that much of a picture. They kind of talked about it for a little bit, and then And then it gets like a little bit more personal about his own life, and sort of he has like a downfall. He gets a gambling problem, and it's a real rags to riches, back to rags story. And so he gets humbled, essentially.
Okay.
And there's a point where it's like, oh, now he's like not such a good guy, and but then it kind of wraps that around. You can kind of see that you can sympathize. He's done things like within his own relationship that damaged his relationship with his wife and their children, and then the people around him and how they viewed him. And then by the end of it, by like the end of that, all of that, and passing, like going through all of that, and seeing like sort of like you can tell that he has shame and regrets, and he knows he made bad decisions and all that, and then the people's view on him is still like, well, we wouldn't be here without him.
Yeah.
So it's like there's like this sort of sympathy and compassion, even though he might have made these really bad mistakes. It was.
He's super likable too.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a really good documentary, and that's streaming on Hulu, and if you have Disney Plus, Hulu add-on, and also Canopy.
Nice.
And
love that doc.
For I guess my punishment movie, which was Cry Wilderness, and that's streaming on Tubi.
Of course it is.
Streaming on Tubi for free. And I was watching this movie, and I was like, I've seen this before.
Uh-oh, really?
I have seen this movie before.
Wow.
And it is, I will say it.
You repressed it.
It is a very bad movie.
Okay.
100%. It's luckily a good bad movie.
Oh,
so
okay.
there was some definitely entertaining qualities to it.
Okay.
But the first time I watched this movie, it was through Mystery Science Theater.
Oh wow, that's wonderful.
And it's through their newer seasons.
With Jonah Ray.
That are on Netflix.
Really? Interesting.
So I was like, this looks so familiar.
I might have to check that out.
That's cool.
But the premise is so ridiculous.
What's it about?
So it's like the original Sasquatch gang. It's about Bigfoot.
Wow.
But the way that they approach the idea of Bigfoot, they try to make it like a Peter Pan like type of situation where it's like you can only see Bigfoot if you believe in him.
Oh, wonderful. That's pretty good.
And
what are you talking about?
so is this main character Paul, who's a child,
Paul,
and his dad, who is a forest ranger. He in the beginning of the movie, he's like talking about with this adult at this like private school, and he's a teacher, and Paul is like bringing up Bigfoot and like all these ridiculous things, and the teacher's like, "This is ridiculous. You're a child, and I'm an adult, and there's no way that this is real. That Bigfoot is real."
Right.
And that's kind of like the beginning of the movie, and then most of the movie is like he's in the woods in the cabin with his dad during like summer break or something.
Okay.
And this Sasquatch, he likes to drink Coca-Cola and listen to rock and roll.
Okay, so this is also Mac and Me.
Yes, it is very much Mac and Me. It's the Mac and Me of Sasquatch movies.
Okay.
You can quote me on that.
And but it's overall a good time. It kind of there's the parts in the movie where you're like, okay, this is kind of like slogging a little, and that's why like the Mystery Science Theater version is probably the best way to watch it.
Okay,
because there's like commentary and stuff like that. Yeah.
And there's some real awkward parts in this movie. There's a lot of awkward laughing, and this kid Paul has like these pet raccoons that live in his house, and there's this whole segment of him trying to wrangle these raccoons in the kitchen that have like destroyed the kitchen. And everybody's like laughing, and
they destroyed our kitchen.
Yeah, it's
how cute are they?
Really, not a good movie, but it was an entertaining watch.
It's fun because it was so bad.
What year was this released?
This is 1987.
1987. Okay.
It's sitting at a 2.1 out of 10 on IMDb.
Oh boy.
It's got kind of a cool poster though on IMDb.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call that cool. But...
Best part about the entire movie.
I mean, it looks like a modern version of Like this looks like a modern movie poster.
It kind of does. I will agree with that. It does.
But yeah, it's was it a punishment? Kind of. I wouldn't have never watched this without probably Mystery Science Theater and yeah. But
Thanks, Joseph Bridges, for that. Jables.
yes, Cry Wilderness streaming on Tubi and on Netflix via Mystery Science Theater. So check it out if you want to, I guess.
You're fond of me, lobster.
All right, Tyler, what do you got?
All right. So I had a pretty hectic week this week at work. Barely had any time to really watch anything.
How you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
Uh-huh.
And you're not really fine. You just can't
Okay.
get into it.
So I watched a comfort movie that we did review on this show. I hadn't watched it since we reviewed it, so I figured I'd go and revisit it again. This is 2001's Donnie Darko, directed by Richard Kelly, who hasn't really been in like the ether of Hollywood as of recent, and maybe he has, but like I haven't heard really any projects that he's
I think
done.
he stopped.
Yeah, maybe
After S. Darko. I know he didn't direct that,
yeah, he
but
didn't
he was
do
like,
S.
I don't think I need to.
However, I did. I heard some murmurs on the internet that they are going to be making another Donnie Darko in-universe movie, which Richard Kelly is going to be the writer and director of. Which Donnie Darko, he is the director and writer. This is streaming on HBO Max. Of course, it stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Maggie Gyllenhaal, Patrick Swayze, and then kind of like a bunch of other actors. Oh, well, of course, like how could I forget Mary McDonald?
Seth Rogen.
Yes, that's right. that was one of Seth Rogen's first movies. I believe it was one of his first movies that he was in. Like it was very early in his career, because he was in that one TV show with James Franco.
Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, Freaks and Geeks. That's right. So Donnie Darko. I know a lot of people pan this movie, but I think the soundtrack is just killer. You know, you have Mad World, you have Echo and the Bunnymen starting off with the Killing Moon, like in that whole bicycle sequence where he like wakes up in a confused state. Donnie Darko, that is, he wakes up in a confused state at the beginning of the movie, and then he's riding his bike. Echo and the Bunnymen just blasts into your speakers with their famous song, The Killing Moon. It just like, that's what really took me in. And like, I think like the tone of the movie is just really surreal. And I think a lot of people take like people who are like super, like I'm not going to say I'm a super fan of Donnie Darko. I just think Donnie Darko has like a lot of great qualities to it, but like the super fans really like just make this movie like not like
You turned off.
approachable.
Are you turned off because of the fandom? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like it was very much taken over by like the hot topic people, you know, like
It's like our anime.
like
Like I don't know if I can really get into anime. Those weebs are really weirding me out.
well, I mean, like
I
it's
could
a-
be
it's a-
one. I could turn into one of them.
it's akin to that sort of attitude. Anyways, I really like the way that Donnie like I know we have a whole episode on this, and please go check it out. But just like revisiting it and like I revisited it in a sort of critical eye, like just I already did, but like just like kind of just pulling myself back even more, like not just watching it because it's like, oh, I like this movie. Like when I was watching it, I sat myself down. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this, but I want to watch this as a 31-year-old adult, not as a person who has seen this movie like 5 times already. And so when I was watching it, I think the way they handle the time travel was very interesting. And it's very like thought-provoking about like going into how time travel would work. I really liked Jake Gyllenhaal's acting. I think he played a really well disturbed teenager who's dealing with these like existential like things that are out of his control. And Maggie Gyllenhaal's acting is really well as she always acts in movies. Like she's always really well in the roles that she is in. And I think at the end of the day, Donnie Darko, although it's not a movie for everyone, this is a movie that I would definitely recommend to people who are into sort of like
Hot Topic.
Yes. Yeah, if you like to shop at Hot Topic like I do, please watch Donnie Darko.
All right, a ringing endorsement. And our Donnie Darko episode was from September of 2020, episode 56.
Oh my god, 2020?
2020.
I haven't watched Donnie Darko since 2020.
Hey, me neither.
Yeah, well, that's same here.
Actually, I just got it recently on 4K, and I'm actually kind of interested to revisit it just to see how shitty that time bubble looks in 4K.
The time worm bubble.
Yeah. Are you good?
Yeah. So, and also, I also wanted to mention the final season of Barry, also streaming on HBO Max.
Tyler, you did that last week. You gotta stop streaming, picking the same show twice in a week in a row.
Can I finish?
Good.
The newest episode is streaming this Sunday. I know you're probably listening to this on Monday, but if you're on our Twitch stream, please watch it tomorrow. Comes out. It's a really great show.
Wait, you're stream picking an episode that's coming out?
Tyler gets paid for every episode.
I'm just promoting it.
He gets paid for it, don't you see? He's not sharing any of that with us.
Are
you good?
Yes, I'm good.
All
I'm
right.
good. Damn it.
Okay, so I watched a few fun things this week and one really bad thing this week.
Ooh.
I wonder which one it was.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the new John Mulaney stand-up special called Baby J. John Mulaney, Baby J. Just came out a few days ago, I think like Tuesday or something.
Oh, wow.
John Mulaney did some terrible things. He
drugs,
cheated on his wife with Olivia Munn or something like that, or Olivia
Wilde. Olivia Munn.
I don't know, one of those Olivias, and had
Olivia Colman.
He had a baby. Yeah. Oh yeah, even better. And was married to her and had a baby with another woman and went in rehab. And he talks about some of those things in this special.
Yeah.
This is not nearly as funny as some of his other stuff, and I fucking love Kid Gorgeous. That special is so funny. It's the horse loose in the hospital one.
Mm-hmm.
And this was pretty good. He's definitely leaning into and making the best out of the situation. And there's one line in it that just blew me away. That was so funny. He said that likability is a prison, because you can be a complete raging asshole and be a terrible person in public as long as you don't care if anybody likes you. But he wants everybody to like him all the time. And he was an asshole in public, and now no one likes him.
So it's like Costanza.
Kind of, yeah. It's exhausting. So anyways, that's streaming on Netflix. It's a Netflix property. Actually, now I'm thinking about it, I watched two shitty movies this week. One of them, this is the anti-streaming pick. Stay Away, from 2017's The Snowman, directed featuring Michael Fassbender, also streaming on Netflix. I watched this because I heard how bad it was, and I thought this would probably be fun. This would be a fun bad movie.
Sure.
And it's not. It's just
a bad.
It's just bad. Yeah, it's bad.
I've heard that this is not a good movie.
It's not good.
Yeah.
The Snowman.
So the cast, listen to this dynamite cast. Michael Fassbender, Rebecca Ferguson. She's from Dune. She's the queen from Dune.
Yeah.
Charlotte Gainsbourg from Antichrist. Val Kilmer, J.K. Simmons, Toby Jones, Gary character actor, Chloe Sevigny.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a couple other people, James Darcy, that you might actually recognize but not know their names of. It's basically about Fassbender is an alcoholic who is an asshole, and he's a detective, and he's trying to solve these killers. There's a mystery of these killers who dismember people in Norway or something.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a book, isn't it?
Yeah, it's based off a book, and famously the movie fell apart and lost a lot of its funding or something, so they only shot 75% of the story and then edited it together as best as they could.
Ooh.
So I know Joseph's like, fuck you, good luck.
Who directed? Was anybody?
Thomas Alfredson.
Oh, okay.
No one you might super know, but he did direct Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy a few years prior to that.
Okay.
I watched that one too. It's streaming on Prime, but I'm still thinking about it a week later, so I can't really talk about it yet.
I know.
I might watch it again just because it's so
Isn't
confusing.
it so like you see it? It looks cool.
Every
it looks
scene,
great.
I'm like, man, this is awesome. What's happening?
But it's like, what is this about?
And the movie ended, and I was talking to Joe Bridges about this too, and he had a lot of stuff to say about it. So I watched it with his thoughts in mind, and still finished it, and was like, man, that was great. No idea what happened. So anyway, that's a Snowman 2017. Stay away on Netflix. I watched Wild Things from 1998, the pinnacle of 1990s sexual mysteries. I guess it would be considered like a sexual drama or sexual thriller, maybe a thriller.
Sex thriller.
Synopsis says, when teen socialite Kelly Van Ryan and troubled bad girl Susie Toller accuse guidance counselor Sam Lombardo of rape, he's suspended by the school, rejected by the town, and fighting to get his life back. One cop suspects conspiracy, but nothing is what it seems. This is starring
Wild Thing.
Kevin Bacon, Matt Dillon, Nev Campbell, Denise Richards, Teresa Russell, Bill Murray, and Robert Wagner.
Another star-studded cast.
Fantastic cast, yeah. And this movie is so fun. This is a really, really fun time. It's streaming on Showtime. It's on Fubo. It's on DirecTV if you have DirecTV. This is a very sexually charged movie. When I would have been 10 years old when 12 years old when this movie came out, and people were like, "Hey, I heard Nev Campbell shows her boobs in it," and everyone's like, "No, she has a contract that says she won't show her boobs, so she doesn't show her boobs. Well, maybe in this one she will."
Like you're matriculating with your friends.
Yeah, this is the topic of discussion.
Was she the one, like the one to see her boobs?
Yeah,
back then.
I think so. I think it was almost like the unattainable,
Yeah,
the tantalizing.
I can't believe it.
I can't do it. This is before like free porn on the internet. So as a child, you're like, you just find porn in a bush and by the creek, and you're like, wow, what is this?
I paused that scene in Titanic.
So Denise Richards is this like a kind of like preppy girl. She's like the daughter of like an untouchable socialite. Her father is powerful but dead, and her mother is like this magnate. Knows everyone from the city council to the the chief of police, and this is in Miami or somewhere in Florida. And the words Florida noir is something that I never know I wanted.
Is that even a thing?
But this is what this is. It is a textbook noir that is set in Florida in the late 1990s, and it is very dated, but it looks fantastic. And I got this on Arrow.
The movie is dated.
The movie's dated,
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
The movie's dated, yeah. I got this on Arrow they had a sale a little while ago, and I picked it up on Arrow in 4K, and holy shit, this is great.
They had a 4K release.
Great looking, a whole special edition with multiple discs and stuff. It's such a great looking movie.
Nice,
and it is very twisty and turny. Every time it zigs, you think it zigs, it's gonna zag. So,
oh my god,
it is very fun. So not like when you get to the end, you're like, what? It's a lot more twists than I was expecting. It
is wild.
The Thing is wild. So, anyways, that's Wild Things streaming.
Things are wild.
Streaming on Showtime. And for my punishment.
Oh jeez.
Oh yeah.
I watched 2007's Code Name The Cleaner.
Classic comedy.
Sure. So throughout history, there are there's a history of people who will name themselves after like an identifying feature. Italian American mobsters. They got Frankie the Beast, Sam the Cigar, Saul the Iron Worker, Tony the Ant, who famously was played by Joe Pesci in Casino. And then there's people that identify exactly what they are: Thomas the Tank Engine, Andre the Giant, Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's like, what are you? I am Kermit the Frog. I am a frog.
I am Mickey the Mouse.
Mickey, yeah, there you go. Smokey the Bear, Marvin the Martian. It's like, you can't argue with it. He's a bear. He's a Martian. And then you have people that go so bold as to identify their profession in their stage name: Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Attila the Hun, Bill Nye the Science Guy, Dora the Explorer, Chance the Rapper, Tyler the Creator. But how bold do you have to be to name yourself Cedric the Entertainer and give us this bullshit? This movie fucking sucks. This movie is garbage.
Cedric the Entertainer.
And it's not like it's particularly clever. Like there's some interesting kind of twists and turns, but basically he wakes up in a hospital room, a hotel room, and he's on a bed next to a lifeless corpse, and he feels up the corpse from behind, like, hey, I must have got laid last night. He doesn't remember anything. And he's like,
off to a good start.
Yeah, off to a great start. And yeah, first thing you see is Cedric the Entertainer on a hotel bed, and he wakes up and goes, man, where am I? And he reaches behind him, feels a body. It's a man in a suit. And naturally, he feels it and goes, that must be a lady. I must have got lucky. And then he starts feeling the guy's butt and going, oh, baby, you want some more sugar? Without looking the whole time. He's still facing the opposite direction, of course, because you have to. And turns around and realizes, oh, it's a dead FBI agent. Oh my gosh, I have a suitcase full of $250,000 cash. What happened last night? And the story picks up from there. So this is starring Cedric the Entertainer, the aforementioned, playing Jake Rogers. This is Lucy Liu, Nicolette Sheridan, Mark Dacascos, who is the Iron Chef host, aka also the guy from Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Oh yeah.
Callum Keith Rennie, who you'd recognize but probably don't know, Niecy Nash, DeRay Davis, Will Patton, Kevin McNulty, and Brett Anderson. A lot of people that you'd recognize the face on. And every joke is just like, hey, I'm cool, and I'm trying to figure out who I am, and I'm a fish out of water.
Does he have amnesia or something?
Yeah, he got hit on the head.
Oh, okay.
And he's got a tiny blood spot next to his ear, and everybody instantly, the second they see him, goes, what happened to your head? And I didn't see that there was something there. What happened to your head? Oh, I don't know. I lost my memory, blah, 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 whatever.
It's just like Memento.
He thinks that he's throughout the movie, he thinks that he's a hired hitman, or he works for the government and they call him the cleaner.
Oh,
I'm the cleaner. I clean up the messes the government makes, And he's having these flashbacks as his memory comes back into focus. And it turns out that he plays a lot of video games, and he's like visualizing a video game character that looks kind of like him in the game that he likes to play, and he calls it. He's like, I think I know. I'm actually a colonel. I'm Colonel. Whatever my last name is. And they go by a video game display at some point, and they're like, oh look, Colonel something. It's like Call of Duty sort of thing. And Lucy Liu is an actual agent, and she's pretending to be his girlfriend, and she's deep undercover. And none of the plot really makes sense, and it really doesn't matter because the movie stinks.
Yeah.
So
why would she go along with it?
You know what? None of it really makes sense. There's a whole lot of stuff that doesn't make sense.
She was sympathetic towards his infirmity, so he just.
And it's just kind of like, how they have, at the end of like a Judd Apatow movie, they'll have like the outtakes, and they'll say, they'll have the same line read. It's not the same line, but the same situation, and they'll have the two characters just spitball. Improv for like 10, 20 takes, and they pick the funniest one and put it in. They did that in this, and they picked the best one, and it still sucks because they show the outtakes at the end, and it's like there's a point when he's being shown into a mansion, and he's like, hey, look, honey, we're married, you and me, and you're actually rich. He goes, oh, I'm rich, huh? What do I do all day? He goes, you know what? I don't gotta do nothing. I'm not gonna do nothing all day. I'm just gonna play golf. I'm gonna, hold on. You gotta get magazines. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be about 45 minutes or so. Get those magazines.
Minutes.
And it's just like, and he's talking to the butler at some point that is described as his butler, and is essentially telling him, hey, while I'm taking a shit, can you go out and get me a bunch of random stuff? They don't really set it up like that's the joke. So you're like, why does he want birthday balloons? why does he want a clown wig? Is it his birthday? He knows that somehow.
The man
So
is nuts.
they don't set it up for the joke to pay off and make sense. But in the B-roll credits, or in the credits and like the multiple takes, you show all his other improv, and he's saying more ridiculous things to go get. And he's like, oh, find my third grade science teacher and tell her I hate her, and stuff like that. And you're like, oh, so that's the bit he was trying. And so it's directed in a way that even they don't even set up the jokes to make sense when they land, and it's very, very bad.
That sounds like that was
punishment.
That's
it is.
That sounds like
His catchphrase is "Oh hell no."
Oh my god!
He says that like 10 times in the movie, and at some point after the fourth time, I'm like, "Is that his catchphrase?"
Oh hell!
And
no.
the next day, he's like, "Oh hell no!
Oh,
I ain't putting on those clogs. Oh hell no! I ain't getting in that car."
Oh, Cedric.
And then
Cedric.
at some point, Lucy Liu becomes
Mr.
like,
the Entertainer.
yeah. At some point, Lucy Liu like levels with him, and they become like closer and kind of romantic.
And then she says,
and then she says, "Oh hell no, you can't talk to my man like that." And you're like,
that sounds so painful.
Painful. Yeah.
Well, that is the wheel of punishment.
I am
for you.
so glad I won
Woo!
that.
That was a fun. It was actually pretty fun because it was so bad.
Yeah.
It's not like the Snowman is like, do not watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't invite people over to watch
You
this.
want to watch Conan the Cleaner?
Yeah.
Let's bring it over. Good Red Museum watch.
Oh God, yeah, no, it's not that. So, anyways, that is pretty much everything that we got.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else you need to say?
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's
okay. Let's see. I'm letting Jesse know we need to go on a quick break. Okay, so we're going to sign off right now for this half of the stream. This is going to be the first episode of the week. So if you're in Twitch land, sit tight. About 10-15 minutes. We will be back after a quick break. And if you're in podcast land, thank you for listening. And thank you to our supporters, which is our cool ass yard duties over on Patreon, which I actually lost the page.
No, our Patreons are Javier, listener Steven, the Maple Syrup Don, Joel Shinneman, Linda McAllister.
Where'd you get that list?
It's in the show notes. Heather Sash, Ryan Corbin, Jason, Brendan
Those
Beal.
are all of our Patrons.
Hey, sweet. Everyone's getting a shout out today.
Yeah.
I love it.
And, of course, we can't forget Chris Geiger.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Chris. What's up, buddy? Anyways, thank you for the support for our Patreons. Thank you for everyone who's listening. Until next time. Thank you for following us as we gab and chatter. Follow us later on in the week or later on today as we review In a Lonely Place from listener Linda. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Twitter @PodcastMCFC and on TikTok Middle Class Film Class.
Yeah, and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010. And also follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class. And why don't you stop by and pick up a shirt? We have that link in our show notes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jesse, for hosting. We'll talk to you guys later.
Later.
See ya.
To pretend she's overboard, self-assured. Oh no, I know a dirty word. Hello, 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 how long? Hello, hello. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertainers. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, I'm worse at what I do best and forgive. I feel blessed. Our little group always been and always will be until the end. Hello, 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 how low? Hello, hello. With the lights out, it's less dangerous. Here we are now, entertainers. It's hard to find. Oh well, whatever. Never mind. With the lights out, it's a less dangerous. Here we are now, entertainers. I feel stupid and contagious. Here we are now, entertainers.
Hello, I've waited here for you ever long. Tonight I throw myself into out of the red, out of her head she sang. Calm down and waste away with me, down with me. Slow how you wanted it to be. Hold my head, out of my head she sang. And I wonder when I sail along with you, everything could ever feel this real forever. Anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, gotta promise not to stop when I say when she sang. Breathe out so I can breathe you in, hold you in. And now I know you've always been out of your head, out of my head I sang. And I wonder when I sing along with you, everything can ever feel this real forever. Anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, gotta promise not to stop when I say when she sang. And I wonder when I sing along with you, everything can ever feel this this real forever. Anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, gotta promise not to stop when I say when. She sang.
All right, everybody. Hope you got refreshed, got a snack, hit the potty. Hope we're all well rested for the second half of Middle Class Film Class. Class Film Class.
Hello, Twitch. I love this music.
Class Film Class.
Hello, Twitch. Who's on?
It's not me.
It's not you? Okay.
I don't think so.
I love this music. Hello, Twitch. All right, here we go. Who's on?
It's not me.
It's not you? Okay.
I don't think so.
I love this music. Who's Hello, Twitch.
Wait,
hold on. Who's on the Twitch?
It's not me.
Here we go. Are you sure? Who's on?
It's not me.
It's not you? Okay.
I don't think so.
I love this music. Who's well, who's on? That's interesting. Oh, it's going through because of the Bluetooth.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's just start over again. Hi, Twitch. We're doing it live.
I love this music.
Doing it live.
That's so funny.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class Movie Review Edition. I'm your host for today, Pete.
I'm Joseph.
And I'm Tyler.
And today we're going to be breaking down a listener pick, a Patreon pick from my dear Aunt Linda in a lonely place.
Did you see Mr. Steele last night?
Yes, as I came home, I saw him going to his apartment with a girl.
That girl was murdered between 1 and 2 o'clock this morning.
With or without his wife or tailing me? I've been looking for someone for a long time. I didn't know her name or where she lived. I'd never seen her before. And a girl was killed, and because of that, I found what I was looking for. First, you have to have enough imagination to visualize the crime. You're driving up the canyon. You put your right arm around her neck.
She says the wrong thing and you backhand her good.
She does your laundry for you.
You begin to squeeze.
Let me in. Sorry to take you.
Let me in!
No, I don't.
Packing to go on a honeymoon?
Yes, of
Or you're
course.
packing to run away from me like you ran away from Mr. Baker?
Dick.
Yes, famous last words.
Dick.
Okay. Yeah, what a name. Dixon Steele.
Yeah.
Dick Steele.
Yeah.
All right, so this is In a Lonely Place. This is directed by Nicholas Ray, directed Rebel Without a Cause, probably most famously.
Sure.
Starring Humphrey Bogart, Gloria Graham, Frank Lovejoy, all kinds of interesting
Was this
people.
before or after Rebel?
I think this is way before.
Okay. This is 1950.
Yeah, this was. Yeah,
That's only 5 years before. 1955 was. I don't know why Rebel Without a Cause. I thought it was in the 60s. So we also have Carl Benton Reed, Art Smith, Jeff Donnell, Martha Stewart. Not that one.
Not the Snoop Dogg's friend.
Yeah, Robert Warwick, Morris Ankrum, William Ching. I was looking through the cast in this, and there's at least 5 people that were born in the 1800s in this.
Oh my god!
And this is a listener pick from our Patreon, Cool Ass Yard Duty. Actually, no, she's a class clown. She's a class clown.
Class clown.
And for anyone who's not sure what that is, our Patreon, we split it up into levels. We got new students, class clowns, teachers assistants, and Cool Ass Yard Duties at the top.
Yeah.
And if you subscribe to the Patreon, the $5 levels, the class clown or up, you get your pick on the wheel, and it rotates through all the people in that category.
Mm-hmm.
So next up is going to be Heather Sachs, who I got a pick to replace at the end of this.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is In a Lonely Place. Is from my Aunt Linda, faithful supporter of the show. And
She's been on the show before too.
Yes, she's called in. We've had her on in the past, and we're going to have her on again right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she had a wealth of information to share with us about this because I think she has it on Criterion, maybe not on the disc, but she has the Criterion channel. So we're going to give her a call.
Oh, okay.
Right now, and she's going to share some information with us. Call, damn you. There we go.
We shouldn't have them on hold the whole time before and then just unmute them.
Can we hear
Make
it?
them wait.
You got it?
We had it earlier.
Yeah.
Is it?
It's going.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear us? Hello? Technical difficulties. Hold on one moment. This is riveting stuff.
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, we're gonna figure this out here real quick because I have her set up here.
It was
with
on?
the system.
You're-
Yeah, it's Bluetooth. It's connected to the iPhone.
mm-hmm.
Why can't it? Why won't it go? Let's see.
Is the iPhone connected? to
Yeah, it's
the-
connected to the board.
Is the call connected? Are your levels? Is it the channel on mute? We were hearing it earlier.
Mm-hmm. Bluetooth is right here.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, can you hear us?
I hear you perfectly. Hi, guys.
Oh, we have some.
Hey.
It's weird. We're having we can't get it connected through Bluetooth for some reason.
If you connect it straight to the board.
Yeah, maybe I can hook it up that way. Let's take a look. Hold on 1 second. We're having technical difficulties.
They're USB. Really?
Well, I mean, in the meantime. Huh? What? This?
You're watching this live, audience.
Well, in the meantime, I mean,
Nothing in the meantime. We're gonna figure this out. Let's see.
Well, I'm just trying to, fill the dead air.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Hello? No? Audio? Maybe not.
Interesting. Why is this giving us such gruff?
Well, we can just do it the old school way where we did our first call with Connie. Hi, can you hear us now, Aunt Linda?
I hear you fine. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that works perfect.
All right, perfect.
So, hi, thanks for having for following the Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for always being a wonderful supporter of the show. You give us great feedback time and time again.
Thank you. You're welcome.
And this pick here, what you had some really interesting stuff you were telling me before about it. What's the behind the scenes stuff that you wanted to share with us?
Okay. First of all, thanks for going with my movie. And I honestly do watch films that were made before, the Stone Age of movie making. Truly. Okay. So what appeals to me so much about this film is it was produced by actually Humphrey Bogart's production company, Santana Productions.
Okay.
This was the second time he had worked with Nicholas Ray as director. And Nicholas Ray, the director, was married to the lead, Gloria Graham, in real life.
Mm-hmm.
Their marriage was very tempestuous. They were on the point of breaking up when they went in and got this deal. But this would have been the first female lead role for Graham, and it was a lot riding on this.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wanted it to succeed. It was a dynamite script, dream project, right? So while the filming was going on, Columbia Pictures, who was the studio that released it, they made a contract that Gloria Graham had to sign, giving her husband, Nicholas Ray, her director, complete and utter control over her from Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. while the film was being done. So she couldn't argue, she couldn't complain, she couldn't put her any input. She had to do exactly what he said.
Oh,
you can imagine what kind of atmosphere that would have created between the two of them on the set.
Yeah.
Wow. And when you look at different production stills, when some of the real intense scenes are being filmed between her and Bogart, he is right there like inches from her, just out of camera range.
Really? Ooh, that's creepy.
Yes. Yeah, directing, telling her what to do. And I think because of it, she put in a dynamite performance.
Yeah,
an absolute knock it out of the park performance, the best she'd ever done.
She definitely feels like a woman who is at her wit's end with men telling her, essentially feeling trapped, because Bogart, the thing that kind of shocked me about this was that he's not playing a sympathetic person. He doesn't play a hero or really even an anti-hero, just kind of a creep.
Exactly.
And he's got this like stranglehold over her, much like her husband had during production. Ooh, that's interesting.
Exactly. So she got it in real life. She had it on the screen. The whole thing was just a pressure cooker. And they finally did split up about halfway through the filming, but they kept it a secret from Bogart because he was the production side. And they didn't want a chance of either one of them being replaced during the filming. So he basically lived at the studio and they kept it on the quiet, while this whole thing was going on. Also, I agree with you. This was an unusual performance for Bogart because he'd always been the hero, the underdog, the guy who looked rough on the outside but came through. In this, he was just a creep. Like you said.
Yeah, it was very, very surprising. I mean, I've only seen a small handful of Bogart movies, and but he's always the dude that comes through at the end of the day. He's got a gruff voice and like a rough exterior with a heart of gold.
Exactly. In this time, there was no heart of gold.
No.
So, as I had mentioned earlier, this was a film about not real likable people. That was intense, emotional, and left you guessing all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Did he really do it? The other thing that appealed to me here is that Graham's character, her note, she came in and they met each other. And after 3 weeks, basically, she's being his support. You know, she's typing his script pages. She's making sure he eats. He gets him off the booze a little bit, you know, and he's love bombing her. And they have this idyllic relationship, which is destined to crash and burn in a spectacular way.
For sure.
You know, and there's this, you know, and it's very timely in my mind because there's so much awareness now of narcissistic personalities and the kind of destruction that they can cause in relationships.
Yeah.
And this is a textbook case of it. You know, you got love bombing, you've got I need you, you can't get away from me. Some of the dialogue he says, you'll leave when I tell you to leave and not before.
Yeah, sounds like Steven Crowder. Very topical, boy.
Yeah, the camera angles where someone's always hovering over her.
Yeah, that's a good point. There were some interesting shot choices there, and I felt very bad for her character. And the weird thing is, like, when I was all done with the movie, I'm thinking, there's not a whole lot of other people that are like, yeah, you should probably get away from him. He's a scary guy, except for the fact, you know, when they're trying to like basically frame him for murder. You know, that's the one reason why you should leave your husband if he's a murderer. If he's a piece of shit that strong arms you throughout the entire relationship and gaslights you the whole time and emotionally abuses and sabotages you, stay together. You know,
1950s at its best, right?
Exactly. This was America. Woohoo! Exactly.
But it was, you know, and the other very interesting part of this is that, like you said, the camera angles. It starts out slow. You know, he love bombs her. He tells her, "Oh, you changed my life," blah blah blah. But only one time throughout his entire bad behavior did he ever apologize to anybody for what he did.
Interesting.
You know.
Yeah.
And everything was, well, you know, you provoked me. Everybody's an idiot. And it kind of all ties together with, you know, the notion of Hollywood kind of simmering in the background. You're only as good as your last movie or your script or your piece of music or whatever it is. You know, and there's that kind of undercurrent there of kind of washed up has-beens and people on the fringes of Hollywood looking for that next big break.
Yeah. It starts off very fast telling you that everyone's in there basically hounding him about, you know, what his next project is and why he hasn't worked in so long and how his last one's a flop and stuff. You're like, man, leave him alone.
Yeah, give this guy a break.
He's just trying to have a Jack Daniels. Neat.
No, it's a gin and tonic.
And one of the things, watching this film, as I was able to see it on the big screen in the 90s.
Oh, cool. Nice.
I did, and it was incredible. It was at the Stanford Theater down in Palo Alto.
Oh, my God.
But I since have seen it on the Criterion Channel streaming, and then I also own the DVD copy.
Cool.
Here I'm holding it up to the screen so you can see it.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching you guys while I'm talking.
Right.
But one of the things is they talked about people who know Bogart and known him for years and knew his career. They said that this was the closest to what he was really like personally.
Oh, boy.
And that, for me, being a big Bogart fan, was like, oh, shit. Talk about never meet your idols, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah,
that's a bummer.
Yeah. And one more thing I'll say about the film here. It was loosely based on a popular novel at the time, you know, called In a Lonely Place. And the way that the first ending that they had shot, Bogart's character kills Laurel, strangles her. Okay.
Oh.
He finishes writing the script and he has that line about how I lived a few weeks while you loved me. That was like flashed on the last thing that he typed on his typewriter.
Right.
Oh,
While this happens, you know, while he's wrapping this up, his friend, who's the police detective, comes and tells him, you're off the hook from the Hat Check Girl's murder. Because the guy confessed.
That would be a powerful ending.
It would be, except Nicholas Ray thought, I just can't do it. It's too tied up. It's too neat. It's too Hollywood. He said, I just can't fucking do it. I just can't.
Interesting.
So what he did is he took Bogart and Graham. They improvised the ending that you see on the screen.
Really? Oh, interesting.
Yes. Because his whole thing in his head was, not every relationship has to end in violence. And he could be projecting his own situation with Graham, which they ends up divorcing, and a whole lot of scandalous stuff after that, which is a story for another day.
And then she was found dead 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Well, I think she just finished up the episode.
Story.
Yeah.
She just finished. She tied it up just great.
That's right. Thank you, everybody, for listening to our. No, just kidding. That was great. I love the behind the scenes stuff. That's
Yeah.
It's like gossip pre internet gossip. Where I mean, how could you find out about this back then? The newspapers.
Exactly. Well, it's me watching a film obsessively several times with all the commentaries and everything too, which is my habit. To do that.
Mm-hmm. No, it is. It's so fun.
It is, and sadly, the box office on this was not great.
Yeah.
Because 1950 audiences wanted a happy ending. They wanted to see their hero.
Yeah.
And he was not heroic nor happy the way that it ended.
Yeah,
however,
it's a departure for Bogey.
Very big one. Yeah, the other thing is that since then, the film has come to be called a masterpiece. The film, psychological film noir at its best. The camera angles were very crisp. The black and white photography was great. And in 2008, it was actually added to the Registry of Film for Preservation at the Library of Congress.
Cool. Awesome. It's sitting tight with Iron Man in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Iron Man was added I think last year as one of our stories, and it was because it was the first of the Marvel movies. So it was
gotcha.
It was impactful in that sense. For history. Gotcha. Well, we're going to get into this now. Thank you so much for this assignment. Thanks for calling in. Anything else you guys want to say, fellas?
No, I mean, I'm so overwhelmed with all that information.
I know, it's great. I love it.
It was wonderful. Thank you, Linda, for coming in.
Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you soon. Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye.
What a delight.
Yeah.
A little bit of technical difficulties never slowed us down.
No.
Normally that would be edited out.
But you can see it now. We had to do it live.
We can't do it live, yeah. Okay.
Oh, that's fine.
So with that stuff in mind, let's get into our initial thoughts. Joseph.
Okay. Well, that was a lot of wonderful insight to
creepy
the behind the scenes of that movie, and it's very interesting to hear that for a movie this old, about 73 years old now.
73 years old now.
Yeah, almost a century old, which is crazy. Wow. And it's really cool to hear all that stuff about like all the stuff that she brought to us, all the camera angles and the behind the scenes of how they did the ending. Because this was probably one of the most uninteresting movies I've ever I've seen.
What?
Oh man!
Hold on.
Maybe not I've ever seen, but it was definitely
hot take.
It was definitely kind of a chore to watch.
Okay.
A chore. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, Aunt Linda. I like she said, like the characters are not essentially very likable.
Right.
And because of that reason, I didn't care about them and what was going on.
Okay.
You killed them, you didn't kill her, I don't care. You're still an asshole. So
okay. Yeah.
I think what's the interesting part is their relationship and sort of how it dissolves by the end of it. And they had this, I don't know, maybe strong connection, but it was kind of toxic.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, when everything is said and done, it's too late to apologize, as the Fray would say. I
thought that was Timbaland.
Timbaland, yeah. That was the interesting part of the story, and I think whatever his character's name, Dixon Steele. How could I forget?
Dixon Steele.
I think
attorney at law.
His character as being a kind of a washed up writer who hasn't had a hit in decades or years or whatever.
Yeah.
And people hounding him is, this is 1950, so this is, I don't know how many times that kind of story or character has been.
Back then it was fresh.
Has been in movies, has been in literature or anything like that. So this is one of the originals of that type of character. Yeah. I think that was interesting, and him showing his writing ability when he's talking to that couple, and he's you're out in the desert, and
I like that scene a lot.
Yeah, and you start to squeeze.
Yeah.
Squeeze your harder, brub.
And then he's was hypnotizing that guy into killing his partner.
Well, now that you put it that way, yeah, kind of.
But that was, it was pretty tense. There were some kind of tense moments, but overall, I just was not interested in in the story.
Are you generally find yourself in that kind of mode when it comes to like classic black and white films?
No, just with this one.
It was this
and Citizen Kane.
I was gonna say this and Citizen Kane.
Yeah, Citizen Kane also boring and uninteresting.
Yeah. All right, that's fair.
It did wonders for cinema, but there's better movies out there.
All right.
But yeah, overall, it's just, I guess it's good. But for me, no.
I guess it's good.
All right, Tyler, what's your take?
I actually found myself enjoying this movie up until the end.
Okay.
The end, like most movies made in this era, they kind of just like peter out. There's not like with movies, I would say like probably starting from like the 70s and up, like there's like this like climax and payoff. And I think I might have been privileged because I have grown up with movies with that climax and payoff, but with older movies, it seems like it just sort of ends. So wasn't a fan of the ending. I kind of did a little bit of reading on the ending of this movie, and I have a little bit more of an appreciation for it. However, I did like this movie a lot. It's a classic noir movie.
Would you consider it a noir movie?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's there. It's there's not one main protagonist who's investigating everything, so it kind of feels like, well, there's no detective. Well, there is a detective in Brub, but Brub's kind of like, well, he's my friend, he didn't do it. So I think it's still categorized as a noir because there's a mystery to be found.
Yeah.
So what I will say about this movie is that it's a very simple plot, but I think the characters are what makes this movie sing. Especially Bogarts. He really plays a great washed up screenwriter, and then like once he like figures out the story, like you can tell like he can't, like you can tell that he puts in the work, like he can put in the work, like he has that ability to, because there's this one sequence of events where like he's just writing
he's in the zone, as they say.
Yeah he's just like writing for like nearly 24 hours, and he has that person typing out his pages, and it's
that person.
It's like Saoirse Ronan in Little Women.
Exactly like Saoirse Ronan.
So I think what this movie succeeded in for my enjoyment is that it draws you in instantly. Like it draws you in, and like you're like in this world, like you're involved. Like I know, Joseph, you didn't like the characters, like because they were unlikable, so like you didn't really give a good goddamn about the outcome of the story. However, for myself, I'm very interested in Hollywood, like in the inner workings of Hollywood, and I think that they portrayed, I don't want to say realistically, because I know like the inner workings of Hollywood is a little bit more darker than what this movie is portraying, but like it's kind of like a fantastical idea of what that era of Hollywood was like. And there's like a they are very quick with their quotes in this film, and I really enjoyed that. So I like the movie. I wish that, and I like the idea of the ambiguous ending. I just wish that they punched it up a little bit more rather than having it like kind of peter out and just like, oh, I guess that's the end.
So you like
I don't think it's a detriment to the quality of the film. I just I did yes P. I did like it. I just yeah.
Ironically, I enjoyed the ending more than
what. So let me ask you before I do my initial thoughts. What did he like about the ending specifically? That
I think just what it meant. Like they had this relationship, and then it got the plot of the movie and the reason why they were, I guess, destructive towards each other or whatever. By the time it was resolved, it was like they had already kind of self-destructed, and they can reform that relationship, I guess.
Is it kind of like the ending of Phantom Thread? Essentially,
that's a happy ending, isn't it?
I think so. In the Phantom Thread, I mean, they're two toxic people, but they work together. I guess. In this case, I think he's the only toxic one. She's enabling maybe a little bit, but she's not. I don't think she's at fault per se. Okay, so In a Lonely Place. This was a delight for me. Yeah. I really enjoyed. It's almost like there are movies that the main character gets under my skin and prevents me from enjoying it. But this wasn't one of them. I liked the peeling away of the like normal man, kind of quasi famous character that Dixon Steele was, and revealing just how much of a piece of shit he really is. Yeah. I like that part of it. This, the characters that I don't like that are, too annoying to comprehend ruin a movie for me. But if you're talking about like a Portrait of a Bad Guy, like a Nightcrawler or something like that. Oh yeah, you get to see this piece of shit turn into a much bigger piece of shit as the movie goes on.
Oh, the piece of shit, it turns out to be a piece of shit.
Yeah, surprise.
Big surprise.
Yeah. But to what extent? Like when he runs that guy off the road and then picks up the rock to murder him, you're like, he stops for a second and goes, look at this rock, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna smash his head in. And if she wasn't there, he would have destroyed this. Yeah, he would have Nicholas Winding Refned him. Yeah, he would have Ari Astered his head in a heartbeat. So I like the ambiguity of did he actually kill that woman? Yeah. I say no, because there's no reason to. Like, why would he kill? It's not like he's a serial killer. He just has a really shitty temper. Yeah,
he has a violent temper.
Yeah, he's a man on the edge.
And he wasn't particularly angry.
No, he was just like, okay, well, you read me the book. It was boring, kind of,
that book sucked. I'm going to strangle you now.
And, I still not 100% sure whether he was trying to bed her or not, whether he was just being coy, but I'm sure he was. So was he mad that we can get into that. That she didn't, lay him or whatever? I don't think there's enough motivation to say,
"Hey, sweetheart, you're going to come to bed with me? I'm going to fucking kill you."
Yeah, it's like, such is the time. But it's like, just because he has done terrible things in the past doesn't mean that he's responsible for this terrible thing that just happened near him. Sure. You know what I mean?
In the room next door or whatever.
Yeah. And it's like, that would be unfair to him. Do I care? No, fuck him. But their relationship to me was probably the most interesting thing because, I have this, I like, studying people, and the older I get and the more people I run into and interesting personalities that I see, you start seeing trends in people. And you know the type of person who is very, very happy all of the time. Very energetically happy all the time. If you've ever
optimistic,
not optimistic, like
they just have a positive outlook,
positive, super energized, just a fucking sprite, just always just energy level to a 10, binging around all over the place. And when that person crashes, the like, I think of it like a pendulum swinging. Their emotions swing so far to the excited and happy side when they crash. Yeah. Their anger their vengeance is legendary. The anger and or the depression. If you're the ultra happy person, when you really crash, you crash hard. Sure. And I don't think that's necessarily like it has any sort of bipolar disorder or anything like that. It's just your personality is very strong. You feel your emotions at extreme levels, where some people might be very muted, and you're like, why aren't you angry about this? I am angry. Can't you tell? I'm furious.
I am excited.
Yeah, I know. You didn't even cry at your aunt's funeral. It's like, I was very sad. It's like that there's that type of person, and there's the the wide swing. And in their relationship, it was like that. Day one, he sees her, she corroborates his story, basically gets him free from murder. And then he follows her back home and is like, their entire courtship is like, are you sure you want to do this? I asked myself the same thing. Smooch. And now they're eternally entwined,
Yeah. So you like the movie then?
I do like the movie. I thought it was really fun to watch this, like, historical deconstruction of this. Like I don't want to call it an alpha male, but a type, So
he's based.
He's
What Humphrey Bogart listened to would be
What does that
part of
even
the
mean,
part of the
based?
Tate gang.
Bogey. I mean, apparently, if this is closest to his true life persona, then perhaps he's a top G.
Big oof.
Yeah.
I wish that the ending was how it was in the book, like Linda said.
Yeah,
I thought that would have been
hearing that
dynamite ending.
Yeah,
much better.
I agree, but I do appreciate, like, so like.
Yeah, do you have thoughts about him trying to bed that coat check girl?
Oh, so
your eyes lit up when I said that.
Oh, they definitely fucking.
Okay, so it happened. What I thought, so this is what I think about that whole sequence of events that occurred, was that he was, like he was almost at the end of a bottle of gin, and I think he wanted to bed her,
yeah,
but then once he had kind of short-term memory loss essentially, and so when she showed up, because he realized he had work to do, and I think
you think he had short-term memory loss
because he was affected, and so okay. I was thinking okay, so he his instinct was, I want to bed this woman because
because it's the 1950s,
because she's attractive.
She's a young, attractive man, and I'm semi-famous.
I'm attractive, I have a 7-figure bank account, whatever. And
I work in showbiz.
Exactly. And so I was thinking that was his first reaction, oh, I want this person to come back to my home so I can do things. And then he realized that I have work to do, and she has read the book, and she because he has to write a screenplay for this book that a movie is going to be made out of. And so then he realizes that, oh well, she has the knowledge of the book. I can't remember.
And I'm lazy and I don't want to read the book. That's pretty much what it amounted to.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's pretty much exactly what happened on screen, though. I think that he was really couldn't care too much. He's like, yeah, if she reads me the book, that's great. But as soon as she started reading him the book, he was like,
he couldn't
Shut up. What are you doing?
Yeah, he couldn't even.
What is this?
Yeah, exactly. I think what Dick Steele, I think what the emotional roles that he was playing was actually really great, because he goes through wanting to bed this person, and then realizing, oh, I have to go to work, and then realizing,
is it realizing he has to go to work, or is he just tired of the game, the facade?
No,
and now he's you're acting like he was surprised that he had to, oh shoot, I have a book to write.
That's exactly what I'm saying, is I have to work.
Think he forgot that he has to work?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
definitely. Because he has the ZD, so it's just he doesn't really care. He's well,
I don't think he is as rich and famous as you think he is. You say he has a 7-figure income and he's just got cheddar to throw around. I don't think so. He's kind of told by all the other people in his life that he needs to get a hit, or else he's washed up.
Right. Yes, but
is he tasked with writing something?
Yeah. The old guy with the glasses that he punches in the face at some point.
Yeah.
He
what a terrible punch.
He, at the very beginning when you meet him, he's his agent. And
Yeah.
he's like, hey, they're gonna make a movie out of this book.
Oh, yeah,
Read the book.
Yeah.
And he's telling the coat check girl, are you done with this damn book? I got my money maker over here who needs to write a story.
Then she says oh, can I finish it? But she's the one who has the knowledge, so she comes over to his apartment and basically gives a summary, and then he's getting more drunk as the night goes on, and it's 12:30, 1 o'clock.
She's there for 4.5 minutes. He's not getting drunk as the night goes on. He's bored with her.
Well, no, he pours himself a drink, and then she wants a horse's neck, which is do you guys know what a horse's neck is?
Well, we watched the movie, so yes.
A ginger ale with a twist of lemon.
Ooh.
So people who haven't watched the movie, now you know what that is.
Do you guys know?
Now you
I
do.
know because I watched this movie. What's it called again? Oh, In a Lonely Place. Yeah, I watched the movie. There was actually the Shady Lady in Sacramento, so one of my favorite bars in Sac. They had a horse's neck drink on the menu, and
Is that right?
It had a bunch of other stuff in it. It wasn't that. It was very good, and I forgot what was in it, but I remember Drambuie was involved. And I love me some Drambuie.
But okay, so like to finish my thought though, like I think like he wanted to bet her, and then like he.
Oh, now we got to it.
Yeah.
Get to it.
Thank you, chat bot, you son of a bitch. No. But no, I think he wanted to better, then he forgot because he was drunk, and then he was like, okay, I forgot, like I have to write this screenplay, and then she's retelling the summary, but he's going through his like nightly routine of like getting ready for bed, and you know, like he's putting on his robe and everything else and making himself another gin and tonic, and then he's listening to her, and then like Pete said, like he just gets tired of listening to this summer. He's like, I don't give it. This story sucks. And so then she's like, or then he says, Dix, he says, yeah, I think there's a cab corner right around the corner, and gives her $20, 2 10s.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't use the 2 10s because if you remember, the detective recovers the 2
Tyler, are you
10s.
just gonna recover the whole movie this way?
This is a review, and I'm telling you my thoughts.
It's not a retelling. You're just retelling the story.
Well,
So,
you thought that you think that he forgets to bet her, and then because he has to write a screenplay?
Yes,
he's like his mind was crippled with a paralyzing alcoholism, and when my mind is crippled with this disease, I forget everything, everything. So very relatable. My question is really, I guess I don't really have a question, but the scene that I wanted to bring up is when he's brought into the police.
The first time?
The first time, yeah. It reminded me of when Jeffrey Lebowski is picked up by the Malibu police, and he's like, I don't like your shithead attitude. I don't like your shithead. I can't remember if it's shithead or what he says. Jerk off.
Yeah, something
like that. And
yeah.
he's basically taking Lebowski to task, and he's like, I want you to get out of Malibu. Lebowski, get out of Malibu. And this guy is just interrogating him. And Dixon is doing no help for himself whatsoever.
Yeah,
he's like basically like
I know he's cracking wise with the detectives and the police and the chief of police.
She wound up dead. So what? What's it to me? And you're kind of, you could at least feign a little like sympathy, like a normal human being. Oh yeah, this living, breathing creature that was in my room not 10 hours ago is now deceased.
I know,
bereft of life. Lost for this world, you know.
That scene really characterized his personality of him being like this like narcissistic, like I wouldn't say sociopath, but like
I would say sociopath. That fits.
Maybe yeah, you know what? Yeah, I actually, you know what? Sociopath is probably a good term for it, because like if you recall, like when the detective and the chief of police are talking about the murder, or like after the interview. They were talking about like, well, wouldn't you like have like any sort of emotion?
Yes, like that's like, exactly what I'm saying. He's doing himself no favors. He's just being a stone-cold psychopath to the police. Joseph, even though you didn't like this, were there any scenes that you did excite you, short of the which one was it you said was exciting?
The one he's describing the. He's telling a story or something to this couple, and then he starts to hypnotize the guy to killing his girlfriend.
I know a lot about murders. I've committed murder many times on the page. Bro, you could word it way better than that.
Especially when you're the prime suspect of a murder case.
Kind of like, I guess, what Aunt Linda said. I'm gonna call her Aunt Linda.
Okay, you can call her Aunt Linda.
This is off topic.
Yeah.
I mean, you call her Aunt Linda.
Yeah.
She's your aunt. I never I called my Aunt Beth, my Aunt Marlene, Aunt their name when I was young, and then I stopped at a certain point.
Yeah, sometimes I go in and out of it. Sometimes it's like, you know, I have an Auntie Amy, I have an Aunt Linda, I have an Aunt Lola, Aunt Margaret.
Yeah, it's just like it's like a title. It's like a Mr. and Mrs. and then but aunt. Anyway,
Yeah, Margaret the aunt.
or uncle.
Yeah, I got Uncle John.
Yeah,
But I don't call my I do call Uncle Fudd.
yeah. Kind of like what Aunt Linda said about and this is kind of going back to the same scene, but she was talking about like the more of like the technical aspect of it,
Yeah.
which was impressive to me.
You did like the technical stuff?
Yeah, because I didn't notice it at 1st.
Mhm.
And then she brought it up, and then I kind of like remembering.
Mhm.
So like in that scene when he's telling that, like you're driving down the road and you're in the middle of the desert and you start to kill your wife. Or
Yeah.
whatever. And
Squeeze harder, Rob.
um,
Do it. Rubber out right here.
the lighting is even on him at 1st, and then when he gets into like the nitty gritty of like.
He leans in.
It leans in, and there's a spotlight focus like across his
It's
eyes.
like the bar, that light bar.
Yes.
And I think more on that level, I was more impressed with.
And the lighting choices were good.
Than the plot itself.
Yeah.
Which is always interesting to me, like from old movies, because they are essentially the originators of any sort of lighting tricks and stuff. Because they were so limited in their resources, they don't have what we have now.
Right.
They had to be innovative, creative to come up with ways like, I want to do this specific thing, but we don't have a device that does that, so we have to rig this and do that. And then out of innovation breeds invention or something like that. There's like a phrase.
Necessity is the father of invention.
Yeah. And we need this, so we need to make something like this, and then from that they create these other sort of obscure devices that do very specific things, which is great. Which is why these classic movies are great, and these, especially like noir movies, because noir movies are heavily the way that the cameras are placed and the lighting for noir films, old ones, is very moody and a lot of painting with shadows as opposed to light, and I find that to be probably the most intriguing part of these older movies.
I was talking with he's Joseph, getting a lot of airtime on this show.
I'm right
Bridges, the other Joseph, JB. We were talking about From Here to Eternity, another like kind of a classic sort of movie that's not a classic cinema, but from that era, what I consider like classic Hollywood. And it's black and white, Burt Lancaster and some other people. And it was kind of, in my review, I'm talking about how, modern stuff seems to do it better. And it's not really fair to grade classic cinema on stuff like that, because the way he put it was perfect. They're literally inventing the things that I like about movies now. So the story and the character development, like you see this bad guy in Dixon Steel, and as he's being revealed to be this terrible person, there are some really effective scenes like that, retelling in the story, and that, drop shadow light over his eyes. And it's like that kind of got amplified and turned into something different in modern cinema that now we see. And we're like, why does modern movies feel that much more affecting when it's done right? Because they've had decades to hone their craft. And these are the people that were starting it. They were literally inventing it at the beginning.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, like it's in a gray area for me when it comes to like the originators, like essentially standing on the shoulders of giants, quote unquote.
Yes.
These current filmmakers versus past filmmakers, but it's like they invented it. That's great, but now we have that, and now we can do it better. Yeah. And it's unfair to compare the two, obviously. But it's like, I can get the same effect, but a better version of it in a newer movie.
Yeah, well, it's like when our discussion at Tyler's birthday dinner was, Michael Elliott reviewing he does the 1 to 4 star rating, right?
Yeah,
his 5-star are like the all time great movies, and he gave 5 stars to the video of the horse running, the first captured, and it's like, is that a 5-star? Is it?
Nothing happened.
But it's literally like the first thing on film, person on film being filmed or whatever.
It's like saying like the first invention of the car, the automobile, right? That's the worst car probably ever. Right?
I guess, because
they invented the concept of the car for us to improve upon.
Yeah,
and so thank you for doing that, but we've made it a lot better.
Yeah, it becomes very hard to objectively view those things. And some people will look at it through the lens of, in this time, this was blah, blah, blah. I thought objectively, regardless, it was still entertaining and still was like interesting, and seeing the mystery resolve, and his friend being one of the detectives was an interesting thing. You know, Brub.
They were war friends. No, he was his CO. He was the CO.
His commanding
exactly.
officer.
So, but again, you know, the more black and white kind of classic era movies that I watch, the more I'm like, it's almost like a tone that you have to experience. You know?
Yeah.
So
I also go back and forth with like trying to. Like, should I even try to place myself in the mindset of somebody watching this movie in the 50s versus somebody? Obviously, it's easier for me to watch it from my perspective now, you know?
Yeah.
And
that's interesting.
It's and is it fair for me to judge it with the movies that I'm experienced with now that I've seen growing up versus I think objectively as a viewer?
I do think there's two categories. I wanted to go over some of my favorite quotes because there's a lot of quotes in this movie that I just love. But I'm gonna go with the first one. Obviously,
I love dicks.
I was born when she kissed me. I died when she left me. I lived a few weeks while she loved me. Oh my God, my heart swooned for that one.
It's a poem.
Yeah, I know, it was just incredible. This is Mildred Atkinson saying this. Before I started to go to work at Paul's, I used to think that actors made up their own lines. Then Dixon Steele goes on to say, when they get to be big stars, they usually do. Like, just the delivery of it was just so, like, classic Hollywood, like, executive sort of conjecture. I just thought it was really great. Here's another one. Dixon Steele says, go ahead and get some sleep, and we'll have dinner together tonight. Laurel Gray, she goes on to say, we'll have dinner tonight, but not together. Oh my God. I was like, I can't, like, the writing in this movie is just, it's very
expertly crafted. The wordplay is good. Like she's brought to the police station for questioning the first night that they officially talk to each other in the police station.
Right. Yeah.
And he says, "Do you mind if I give you a ride home? I'll pay for a taxi." And she goes, "No, thanks. I always leave with the man who brought me." And you're like, I mean, in a social environment, that's admirable, but it was a police officer.
Like when I think about this movie, it's like so this is obviously like kind of a sort of meta movie about the LA society that was going on at the time. And I think if I'm so I haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Quentin Tarantino, but from what I've heard, it's akin to that sort of to that flavor of type of movie where it's very Hollywood-esque. Like, no,
this is nothing like that. I mean, there might be a couple really small overlaps just because they're talking about behind the scenes stuff, but yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is I can't wait for you to watch it.
Yeah, I can't.
I have a feeling you're not gonna like it.
Well,
you're gonna like you're gonna like the ending and the scene at Spawn Ranch.
I really like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch it a second. No, but it's for another time.
Let's talk about a different movie.
Yeah. You know what? How about Soylent Green? Can we talk about Soylent Green for a little bit?
I heard they're remaking it.
They eat people. That's crazy.
But yeah. So I mean, this movie, for my understanding is that movies that were made in like the 50s. I will say though, I don't even know where that's coming from. But for my understanding is like movies from the 50s, like they were a lot shorter than this movie. This movie was an hour and 33 minutes, and I thought like movies from this era was.
You like to think that. I like to think that too.
Yeah.
But then I watch a movie. And luckily this movie is only an hour and 33 minutes. But sometimes they can be like lengthy.
I thought it was briskly short. I liked it.
I think there was definitely a lull at I would say like near the end of the movie. Like the end of the movie, like I said at the top of the show.
I don't think there was much of a lull at all. I thought it was a great crescendo. I mean, the very, very end, maybe kind of like you said, petered off a tiny bit.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was kind of expecting him. I don't know.
Did you use your own name as a verb?
Yeah, I did. You should try Josephing something one time.
Josephing.
That's the word, right? It's petered off, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're correct. You're correct.
Anyways, tapered
so
off.
Airbud. That's a whole other conversation. Anyways, we're talking about Airbud here. Oh, Jesus.
All right, more Airbud, more hot Airbud talk.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you guys want to have anything else
Would you guys say that the acting is good?
I think between the two of them, yes. I liked them too, both. They have a very specific.
Just in general in the movie.
I think Bogart, when he's pretending to not listen to her while he's in the zone writing, was a little cringy. When she's like, she's like, you know, I'm running off with you. I'm running off with someone else or something like that. He's like, oh, that's nice, honey.
It's
I like that.
That's another part of these older movies that is hard to judge because the acting style from the male actors, I feel like they all kind of blend together in terms of the type of stoic acting.
Yes,
and that was because of the type of
trying to be a man,
the type of masculinity that they were putting on at the time.
Yeah.
Anyway, it all they all have like the similar types of way of talking and the way that they carry themselves.
Hey, you see,
it's affected,
and it's hard for me to judge their performances based on that. Because that was the style of acting at the time.
It was the style at the time.
You know, back in my day.
2 B's per quarter, I'd say.
It's and versus like the variety of acting styles we have now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's hard for me to say like I guess the acting is good.
You know,
he's just kind of acting.
That's why I think it's interesting when I'll find an interesting like classic era movie like The Maltese Falcon. A lot of those people have the very similar approach, the similar kind of tone, and you have the brooding lead guy, but then you have somebody like Peter Lorre who's so different than everybody else that he's easily my most favorite of that era.
Yeah,
mainly probably just because he's so like unique. His approach is so unique, and he's like almost like a creep.
Right, yeah,
you know, and he's got a very
creep.
He's got a very interesting look, and the way he acts it just feels so different than everybody else.
Yeah.
What I will say to punctuate on your question, Joseph, is that
what was the question?
Is the performance or the acting? Would you consider the acting good or in this?
So I think the acting is. I think the acting is good for what the film was presenting to the audience. The line delivery was very well done. And I think there was a more focus, especially on this movie, about line delivery.
Well, a lot of those classic movies were very scripty and written.
Yeah,
and it's everybody's so clever.
So
get into some old Jack Lemmon movies, and your head will explode from the cleverness. It's they're very fun though in that regard.
So looking through that lens, yes, I think it was very well done, but. And it's unfair to compare it to modern movies now because the actors that are in modern movies are genuinely artists in the craft. I would say for the time and for the for what is presented, it was great.
If you were to make a movie now and you really wanted to make a movie like this, but with the same style of acting. You think it would work?
The Coen Brothers did it. The Man Who Wasn't There is Billy Bob Thornton. It's in a sort of a it's black, another black and white.
Oh, was it good?
I liked it quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay, but do you think it would work? I mean, do you think another movie another movie could be done like that?
I think
could it be brought back that style?
I think it could be.
Or
but
would it be grading on the Gen Z audience?
It would be a different genre of movie that you would have to like suspend yourself.
So then these movies are they their own genre?
Yes, they are. Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely.
So like we have suspense thrillers and stuff, and this is like a suspense movie, but it's not just a suspense movie. It's a classic
mystery
suspense movie.
No, you're right, because last week when I was talking about how to grade that type of a movie, you have to put yourself into the shoes of like if you're grading a kids movie, you're going to grade it a certain way. You're grading an action movie, it's a certain way. I believe they are a genre.
Yeah.
And now that it's a pronounced specific genre,
right?
Now you can't make the character have that like cadence of speech and that personality in the modern era unless it is specifically a throwback or you're mimicking something from the past. And it's almost like, how do you grade a stage performance on Broadway versus the same movie? If someone were to give a Broadway performance in a movie, you'd be like, whoa, tone it down a little bit, Daniel Day-Lewis. So
yeah.
Good stuff. I think we are getting pretty long, and we got Jesse waiting on us. Let's get this thing tightened up. Let's get some grades on it. Joseph, what are you going to give In a Lonely Place a grade?
I'm just going to go with my own personal enjoyment type of grade.
Do it.
It's going to be like a C.
Oh, geez.
Minus.
C minus.
Oh my God. A C
minus.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
It just wasn't engaging for me. I on a plot level, story level, it just wasn't interesting. It wasn't like I wasn't suspended, I should say.
Sure.
I wasn't suspended.
You paid for your whole seat and you used it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I was nowhere near that edge. But yeah, it just wasn't thrilling. And yeah, but it's also, I just like I was in my own mind trying to figure out how should I watch this as I was watching it.
In what context? Yeah.
Yeah. Which is maybe unfair a little bit, but overall, I just
there's no wrong way to watch a movie. There's no wrong review either.
Unless it's 3-minute increments on TikTok, which is how I watched it actually.
Oh no.
No description.
On that note, real quickly, I did find somebody uploaded all of the Twilight movies on TikTok in 3-minute increments.
Wonderful.
And I was like,
Awesome.
yeah, there's a whole account dedicated to it.
Awesome.
Anyway.
Do it, Tyler.
It's too late.
But yeah, that's my grade.
C minus. Tyler, what's your grade for In a Lonely Place?
Oh man, I'm giving this a solid B plus. I really love this movie. I was engaged, but I think I'm a sucker for like old timey, scripty sort of Hollywood executive movie types, and so
now that's a genre.
so I was engaged. Like, yeah, the plot has a lot more to be desired. However, like I wasn't interested in the plot, more so I was interested in the writing of the movie. And like you said, Joseph, the use of the lighting to create that noir feel like was really great. Just like the scenes between the main character and his women, his bevy of women, was just, it was very delightful. Like it just tickled my soul. And so yeah, In a Lonely Place, solid B plus.
Okay, I'm going to parrot the sentiment from Tyler, and I'm also going to give In a Lonely Place a B plus as well. Thought it was very engaging for me. The characters were everything, and the camera movement and lighting was pretty well. Not so much the movement of the cameras, but the placement of the cameras. Some interesting angles, and
right, yeah.
I felt horrible for that woman. I felt like Dennis Quaid in what's it called? Cold Creek Manor. Trapped. He's in the room like feverishly packing. He's like, don't make me ask again. I'm coming in. And she's got like the Dear John letter with the ring in the envelope, and you're like, oh fuck, if he finds that, she's dead. She's a dead man.
Yeah,
she's a goner for sure.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was the stuff was tense. The retelling in the apartment, which is even weirder because the lead detective for the case is the guy he's trying to hypnotize to kill his wife. Yes, it's his friend, but it's the lead detective.
Right. Right.
Yeah, there's some interesting choices in the way that it was shot and or the way that the story was told.
Mm-hmm.
But Bogart himself is almost like an enigma, and him being the bad.
And a what?
It was just I don't know. It was cool. I really liked it, and the insight that Aunt Linda added to the beginning just raised it. I was going to give it a B. So I give it a B plus after discussing it and hearing all that kind of behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
Just imagine her, Lauren Graham, being just stared down by her abusive husband on set. Like,
Jesus Christ.
You better not miss this
Just
line.
right inches off.
Don't miss this.
Inches off camera.
You better not miss this line.
Don't fuck it up.
I will fuck you up.
He's like silently like
This is the
mouthing off
50s,
to her.
baby.
I know. And then he made her make him dinner after
Oh my
each
God.
set.
I want a bologna sandwich.
Okay,
better be
so
right.
that was that was In a Lonely Place.
Ding, you're right.
Wait, one more question. I know we're running on time here, but do you think he killed?
Where I answered that already. I said no.
Oh, okay. No, never mind.
Okay.
Never mind.
All right.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen.
Take the shears to that.
All right. So let's go. We replace this on the wheel. 1 wheel, 8 slots, 3 hosts. This is the Wheel of Destiny. All right, so In a Lonely Place is off the wheel. We have a vacant fans pick slot, which is going to go to Heather Sachs, who is a cool ass yard duty.
No.
She is a big supporter of the show, and she had a few different options for us. We talked about it, and we've kind of essentially settled on The Stuff.
The stuff.
Horror movie.
It's a horror comedy.
Yeah, that's from the 80s, right?
Yeah.
I believe so.
That's a famous VHS cover.
Yeah, it's got like the guy with the white oozing stuff coming out of his eyes.
White.
It looks like marshmallow fluff or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to give a recap of what's on the wheel for new listeners or viewers. This is how we choose the movie next week. We got 2 slots for the Patreons, the $5 and up level, and then we have 2 slots each for the 3 of us.
Yeah.
So I got Babel from Joseph, The Conjuring from Tyler, Fiddler on the Roof from Pete, Berserk, The Golden Age, Arc 1, Egg of the King from Tyler.
Yes.
Which we have
Can't you guys just watch Berserk?
the famous drop for it. We have Kubo and the 2 Strings from Pete from Leica, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood from listener Steven, and The Tree of Life from Joseph, and The Stuff from Heather. So we're going to give it a spin. This is what we watch.
Oh my God, I
next
can't
week.
wait.
It's The Conjuring.
Oh, The Conjuring.
Yes.
Now, why The Conjuring? Have you seen The Conjuring?
I have not seen The Conjuring.
Oh, yeah,
I have
that's
heard.
why.
I've heard great things about The Conjuring.
Hmm.
I have no idea what it's about. I know it's about,
It's about The Conjuring.
two elderly paranormal investigators.
They're not elderly.
Yeah, they're just adults.
Oh, okay. They're so they're not.
They're not old people.
They're not infirmed or
It's Patrick
anything.
Wilson and Vera from
Fear from
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So essentially, from my memory, from what I've been told, is that they are investigating a haunted house and paranormal stuff. A paranormal activity happens.
Here is the synopsis from Just Watch. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren work to help.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Work to help a family terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse. Forced to confront a powerful entity, the Warrens find themselves caught in the most terrifying case of their lives. This is where the inception of Annabelle, the haunted doll, comes from.
The spin-off
Correct.
series.
Yes. Yeah. The spin-offs.
And these are real people.
These
They're
are real
based-
people.
based on real
they are
people.
And Annabelle,
yes.
the doll, is a real doll.
I've seen The Conjuring
It is.
3.
They got a 4th one coming out too. It's going to wrap up the whole series.
Oh, I thought
So-
the 3rd one was the. No, anyway.
I thought so too.
So anyways,
this is streaming on Tubi for anyone who wants to watch for free, or you can rent it for $4 just about anywhere.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I chose this movie because like I've heard good things about it, and I kind of stayed away from that series because I don't know, like I just like wasn't like super into the idea of
This
like
is-
watching that kind of movie. But
Is Blumhouse?
Yeah.
yeah,
This is like
And
this is,
James Wan?
this is early Blumhouse.
This is
too.
the prototype of like corporate horror.
This is the Iron Man of this,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
this
kinda.
franchise.
It was like, and it's weird because like this and Insidious both were kind of
Insidious.
going at the same time, and they both
Actually,
also had
yes,
Patrick Wilson.
Yes, Insidious is
yeah.
Insidious is the Iron Man of.
I like Insidious.
I
only seen
think
the
I
first
have
one.
seen Insidious.
You know what? Maybe
yeah.
maybe it was Insidious 3 that's coming out.
They already have a 3.
You know, it is the.
it must be a 4th Insidious.
Well, we'll figure it out next
Maybe it's
week.
a 5th one.
Anything else,
we'll
guys?
We'll settle that hash on a later date. But yeah, no, that's it for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for following along. Thank you for the support from our cool-ass yard duties on Patreon. That's Javier, listener Steven, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. And if you want to support us financially, visit the Patreon, patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass. And if you want to support Stab Comedy, a local Sacramento comedy group or comedy theater that is streaming literally every day and has in-person events, go to twitch.tv/stabcomedy where you're watching this right now and subscribe. It's all you got to do to support local art. Until next time. It was a riveting review. We had a lot of fun. Next week, we're going to break down The Conjuring from Tyler. So follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Twitter at Podcast MCFC and on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class.
Yeah, and please follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010.
Thank you, Jesse, for hosting us on Stab. Follow them, subscribe on Twitch, and get involved. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
See you next time.
All right, everybody, that is the end of Middle Class Film Class. That is the end of our afternoon. But, guys, we're going to be back very soon, actually. Next show's at 7 o'clock. It's a comedy storytelling something. It's How My Hamster Died. It's exactly what it sounds like. Comics share stories of the weird demises of their hamsters. Then at 9 o'clock, it's strip comedy. Also, exactly what it sounds like. So check out the full calendar events at stabcomedytheater.com. Hey, everybody that's still watching. Do we want to send you anywhere? Do we have anybody? You know what? Just go have lunch. Go have a lunch. And we'll be back here at 7. See you later.
Bye, Jesse.
See ya.
Pop it, lock it, poke it,